32 minutes, 21 seconds. 5-second tone followed by a 1-second pause.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Okay, gang, let's go.
From the space city called Houston, Texas, welcome to Spaceboy Universe, featuring Spaceboy and the lovely Surlana. So strap in and prepare for launch sequence.
Greetings and salutations. I'm Spaceboy, and across from me is the lovely Surlana, and it is Spaceboy Universe night. That's right. It is April 28, 2018, and tonight we are going to be playing Russian roulette. Topic roulette, that is. And we'll take your calls. As always, follow us on Twitter. That's at the SBU Universe. Follow Surlana at Surlana. Follow me, Spaceboy, at Spaceboy Music. And of course, follow the network that brings you all this fine program, and that's the SBU Network. Hey, remember to hashtag your tweets tonight with hashtag SBU Universe and hashtag Space Cadets. Want to hang out with the Space Cadets? Go to spaceboyuniverse.com, click the dancing chat bubble, and that'll get you in with all the cool kids. In addition to Twitter, you can find the universe on Facebook, Tumblr, SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, and iHeartMedia. Just look for Spaceboy Universe. You know, speaking of YouTube, you can find more than the Spaceboy Universe of archive of shows. That's right. There is video content from Spaceboy music, video interviews, 2-Bit Gamers, and so much more. It's your duty as a Space Cadet to go subscribe. So do it now. YouTube, it's there. You know where to find it. Can't catch a show live? No problemo. Take the SBU on the go with you via Spreaker, SoundCloud, iTunes, and, of course, iHeartMedia. And just look for Spaceboy Universe, because we're out there just about anywhere you can think of. So on that magical note, I bring in the lovely Surlana. How are you tonight, Surlana?
It's more about you. How are you?
Well, I guess if I have to go down this rabbit hole. So, for now, I guess over a week and a half now, it's been like, originally I felt like I pulled a muscle in my back. Mm-hmm. And it just progressively got worse and worse. And at the beginning of this week, I was, talking to my doctors, hey, can I take Advil? He said, yeah, go ahead and take it, but just for a limited time. And then the next day I was like, okay, I need more than Advil, so what can you give me? And he gave me some muscle relaxers. And then, of course, by Wednesday, I was at work, and all of a sudden my body just froze up. I mean, I was in such excruciating pain, I just didn't know how I was going to get home, for that matter, because it was just, I was in that much pain. So, I got home, sat in my recliner, and I guess at some point at about 9 o'clock, we both decided to go to the ER. And so we truck on down to the ER. We get there about 9 o'clock, and we wait and wait and wait. We finally got seen at 1 o'clock in the morning, which, I'm happy I got to get seen, but, I don't know what it is about ER people that they're like I can't name a particular cable company because I just don't want to get in trouble for bad mouthing them. But it's like dealing with the cable company, or when you're having to get a service done and the help desk is overseas and nobody can get you taken care of. So that next day, I'm home, resting up from, tired because I've been up since 1 o'clock in the morning. I ended up heading
down until 2.
Yeah. So I ended up, I guess, that next day going, my doctor knew that I had gone to the ER because he's a part of the same medical system, and he gets notified whenever one of his patients goes to a ER visit. So he said, "Hey, can you come in, do some blood work and stuff before you go and try to find a orthopedic surgeon to look at this issue?" Because he believes that he gave it a second thought and says, it could be your cholesterol medicine that's messing with you, because the cholesterol medicine over time can mess with the fibers of your muscles. And so I was thinking,
so you're having the stabbing pain. You said it's like somebody plunged a dagger in your back and never took it out. That's caused by a pill?
Well, over time, I guess think of something like a bridge that has a weak bolt, and over time, the bridge still holds up until that bolt gives out, right? I imagine it was kind of the similar situation, is that my back just kind of gave up and said, "You know what? I'm going to twist you into a donut." And or a pretzel would have been more. I'm sorry. That's part of the medicine kicking in.
Your donuts get twisted?
I was thinking, I've been thinking of a donut a lot lately, and the kind that you don't like is the coconut one, and I've been really craving a coconut donut. Anyway, cake donut that is. But so went in, did my blood work and stuff, and so I've been given muscle relaxers and spent most of the time sitting in my recliner, and I can't even lay down. It's that bad. I'm in such severe pain from time to time that it's very debilitating. The only time I get the edge taken off is when I take one of the muscle relaxers. And, I'm not a pill popper by any stretch of the imagination.
I could tell because it doesn't take much to affect you. You sounded like you took one pill the first time. You sounded like you'd been drinking for hours.
Well, I mean, out of the course of our marriage,
I'm pretty hardcore.
And knowing me, I'm very reluctant to take medication.
No, that's just men in general. That's what I felt. My dad's been that way. My brother's that way. You're that way. That's just men. They just don't have sense, apparently.
But anyway, the pain medicine, it got to the point where, would you not agree that...
this was the worst I've ever seen you.
Yeah, see, that's what I was getting
at. That's what I said. I'm dragging your butt to the ER, so...
Remember to talk a little closer. The compressor's cutting you out.
It's not important that I be heard.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
Yes, but we got to be heard all over the universe. Anyway, so for the most part, today has been a better than usual day. I have been resting a lot in my chair. I was able to get around a little bit and get a few things done for the SBU that needs to be done, and then plus, as things coming up for Comic Palooza. You know what, Surlana? You got a pen over there, or just remember this?
What?
Let's go ahead and take our Comic Palooza break real quick, and we'll be right back, and that is now.
Hey, Spaceboy, what makes Comic Palooza the largest pop cultural festival in Texas?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, Surlana, because it's an event with over 2,000 hours of entertaining activities and over 1.2 million square feet of event space at the George R. Brown Convention Center here in Houston, Texas. In addition, with 2018 being Comic Palooza's 10th anniversary, we're expecting this to be the best show to date.
And it all takes place May 25th through May 27th, and attendees will have access to sessions that will cover popular trends, even obscure topics, a film festival, gaming competitions, cosplay contests, a live art auction, and so much more. The exhibit hall will be filled with specialty retailers for comics, popular artists, and exciting games. Also, Houston Makerspace will be there, along with NASA's showcasing their innovative technologies, and there will be a kids area that will be both fun and educational.
There also will be celebrity guests from your favorite movies, television series, comics, and literature to answer your questions and share their stories. They will engage the audience with Q&A session, sign autographs, and take photographs with the fans.
So which celebrities are going to be there?
Well, there's going to be quite a few, Surlana, but just to name a few off the top of my head, there's Tom Holland, Kristen Ritter, Charlie Cox, Patrick Warburton, Jerry Ryan, Brent Spiner, and so many more celebrity guests.
So you want to know more, you need to go to comicpalooza.com and get your passes today.
Comic Palooza 2018, 10th anniversary, Houston, Texas. Be there. Yes, indeed, be there. We are making our way to Comic Palooza at the end of this month, and it is going to be spamtastic. And, that's a new promo that we got going on, and you'll be able to hear that over the weeks that come towards the Comic Palooza as we build up for the big event. And as we go that direction, hopefully the next few shows of the month will be, of May that is, will be centric around Comic Palooza. So expect shows and themes to be heading in that direction. The month of Comic Palooza. Oh, it's going to be fun. So anyway, back to our Backwatch 2018. So I'm taking medication, trying to chill, trying not to move too much. Couldn't find a cane, so I got this walking stick thing that I'm using to kind of help me get around and balance myself. But I guess we'll just have to see how this goes, and hopefully I heal within the next week here and see how things go. Right, Surlana?
Right. I'm sorry. I'm trying to do something because it's Comic Palooza related, and I have lost the link because I'm silly.
That's not bueno. Let's see what else. So we're excited about, as I continue to talk about Comic Palooza, I'll let you finish up on your little project over there.
It's important because it's
yes, it's important. Just know you've got to
just know it's important, people.
Do your thing over there, Surlana.
Because it's time sensitive.
So let me chat with the Space Cadets.
Sorry about that, fellas.
It's going to be a lot of fun and lots of pictures. I mean, we are armed to the teeth when it comes to different things. We've got 4 video cameras that will be handed out to different Space Cadets that come in and help us out to take care of the coverage of the whole event. And so it's going to be exciting to get that done. And then plus, I'll be in the old space suit as always, and there'll be different masks for different occasions. It's going to be a great time. I know that last year that when we did it, it was good, but we felt like we could do it better. And so we've got little things lined up like a contest and game show and so it's going to be lots of fun. And then plus we're hanging out with the maker people because, that's our peeps.
Houston Maker Fair.
Yeah, they have been so gracious of understanding of what we do. And, what we do kind of really ties into the maker community in the sense that, we make this. We make this broadcast. We make our music. It's all home brewed, if you will. For your pleasure and your listening experience. And so it just goes hand in hand. So, and Dave Bernay is just a wonderful individual who oversees the Houston area for the Maker Fair. Is that correct, Surlana?
Yes, it is.
I always want to make sure you correct me before I go off the deep end.
Yeah.
And he is just one of the coolest Canadians you'll ever meet. I haven't met a bad Canadian, to be honest with you. I mean, there are just so many good Canadians out there. Like Yeg, he's a great Canadian. I'm so glad to have a friend like him. And then Dennis, he's another great Canadian. Love him too. They're just wonderful people. I can't imagine not having some great Canadian friends in my life. So really awesome. I'm not saying that the other parts of the world I wouldn't want to be friends with. We have some great Australian friends, but there's just something about the Canadians that they're just so nice.
That's because they're in our attic.
Yeah, well, and they're also tasty too, so. But
all right.
Okay, good. We got the hi-fi signs over there. And you're welcome, Yeg. And so what else have we got? Surlana, I know we haven't seen the new Avenger movie yet.
Well, I was going to bring that up. So it is all about Infinity War. So we haven't seen it, so you don't have to worry about spoilers here. But I'm just going to tell you some of the headlines that I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm.
The MCU Soul Stone finally revealed. What is Doctor Strange's plan? The reviews. The Infinity War's ending explained. The moment when the Avengers Infinity War sets up the Eternals. Marvel's future Ant-Man has an awesome MCU connection. What happens after the end of the Avengers Infinity War? Spoilers. How Avengers Infinity War sets up Ant-Man and the Wasp. How Avengers Infinity War sets up Captain Marvel. Why Marvel recast for Avengers Infinity War. Captain Marvel set photos show Nick Fury with both eyes.
Mm-hmm. That's probably the past.
I don't know if this is related. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. reveals the one who will save us all, a new trailer. Marvel should have made a Thanos movie before Avengers Infinity War. Infinity War skips a lot of important stuff. Mark Ruffalo spoiled Avengers Infinity War's ending a year ago. Many unanswered questions in Avengers Infinity War. Avengers missing from the Infinity War who will return for Avengers 4. And MCU passes $15 billion globally thanks to Avengers Infinity War.
Well, the audience.
My tongue is tired.
The audience knows that I have been known to spoil a movie for myself. You might want to reposition that drink.
Okay, look, you tell me, put the mic closer. Now it's too close. Now you're hitting it with your drink. I don't even want to be here.
Surlana, everybody wants you here. Even the Canadians.
They don't even care.
Oh, everybody show your love for Surlana. She's having one of those moments. But anyway, what I was going to say is that, I go and I look at it's called the moviespoiler.com, I believe it is, which has, a synopsis of the movie and it breaks it down and everything. I don't have a problem reading a spoiler because, if the movie's good like The Avengers, I'm going to go see it. Just like
you and I aren't destroyed by.
No, I'm not totally. I mean, because I have to be on my game when it comes to the show, so I can be ahead and say, "Hey, yeah, this was a part of this." I promise you, I'm not going to spoil it, but it is a real tearjerker of a movie. Well, let's just put it this way: there's deaths of people in this movie that it was like, no, I can't
Infinity
believe
War?
it. Yes, Infinity War.
Oh.
Now,
see, I'm not personally invested in it.
Now, something to keep in mind is that Doctor Strange's character, he has the time stone.
Yes.
So you remember, I'll leave this as a possible spoiler, is that you remember watching Doctor Strange in his movie, right? Mm-hmm. How he went to battle with that one guy and he kept looping the thing for infinity until the guy just basically gave up and yada, yada, yada.
Infinity Wars. Oh, my God. That's why they called it that.
So I hope that's not much of a spoiler, but, But
one thing is he doesn't go around with that stone. He puts it back.
It's in a safe
place.
spot.
And then Vision has one embedded in his noggin.
His forehead, yeah.
I guess that must get extracted or something. And does he turn into a real boy?
I'm a real boy.
So I've seen the guy who plays Vision just as himself in the movie, so in the trailer. So I kind of wondered about that. So I imagine somehow you and I will see it, but you and I like to wait till like the week before it's going to leave the theaters forever to go.
It's sad that we have to do that because we cannot stand the crowds because it just takes away. I mean, it used to be at one point in the old days that you could go see a movie with a crowd. And it wasn't so bad. But nowadays, it's
they would respect the fact that you don't want to sit next to anybody.
They would respect the fact you paid $17 to go see a movie for one ticket, and and not spoil it at your expense. And it was like that situation when we saw Deadpool, and we were in front of that mother with the two kids,
young children.
Mommy, is the bad part over?
I mean, you could hear it in their voices like these kids do not belong in here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we don't have children. We're no way to judge, but I'm like, I didn't want them there because they're kids.
As a kid, I don't recall my parents ever taking me to a rated R movie.
They did take me. I didn't want to go, but it was like rated R movies that were just had adult themes. Nothing too serious.
First off, what rated R movie did your parents take you to go see? Which I'm really surprised.
Well, let me look at that. Yeah, I know they did because they couldn't get a sitter or something. She didn't believe in sitters or something.
Now, while Surlana's looking up the movie, that I'm very curious to know what rated R movie she went to go see as a kid.
Will they tell you ratings on IMDb?
I just want to know the name of the movie. And then
maybe it's not rated R. No, it's not. It's just regular R.
Regular R? Not rated R, but regular R.
No, I don't.
Okay, tell us.
I can't think of anything.
What's the name of the movie?
Only reason I remember is because I was so bored because I was so young.
You're skirting the issue. You're starting to do that lawyer thing I hate.
Wait, let me look at the movie poster.
Anyway, so I remember going to the movies when you could smoke in a theater.
Oh, it's PG. Yes, I'm that old too. I remember going in there and smelling the smoke from the previous.
And then, but not much longer after that, they stopped the smoking in a theater, which I'm glad they did.
Yes.
But yeah, I do remember that, and I remember some people would sneak beers into the theater.
I remember the last movie.
And now you have people going like to these, that's funny. That is really funny. Puff, puff, pass. And, and there's an interesting story there that has to do with The Exorcist and my family on that one.
So they go to The Exorcist to get high?
Well, they went before, God, this is such a family show, and I hate really going down this. Okay, first,
well then don't.
First off, I tell people that I don't have a problem if you smoke pot. I'm pretty liberal when it comes to that. To each their own. If you want to do it, that's great. But anyway, the '70s was such a different time, man. And the story goes something to the effect that my uncle and my dad at the time went into this theater, and then they had to sneak into the restroom or something or whatever before the movie started, and they found a joint on the back of a toilet.
What?
Yes.
Trust your family.
Yeah. Anyway, so needless to say, they took it with them and then watched the movie.
That's not sanitary.
And then later, after the movie, they smoked up and they got really paranoid because apparently a window was open when they got home, and they didn't. Did you leave that window open? And first off, it's bad.
Did they go see Exorcist?
Yeah, they went to go see The Exorcist.
All right. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and so it was they were just tripping out, man, tripping out.
Flashbacks and all.
I can't believe I'm having a conversation like this, but it is pretty funny when I think about what they went through. But apparently, I guess I must have left the window open because it was hot or something. And we were living on the second story of an apartment complex.
Yeah.
And so when they came home, my uncle had a bat with them, and they were like going through, and my mom and my aunt stayed behind just while they.
Were they gonna get burglars or?
I guess
the devil.
I guess they thought the devil had come. The devil had come and burglared the house, and so. Needless to say, they were just, like I said, they were tripping out, man.
Oh, my gosh.
Don't want to take a chance,
This reminds me of when we're sitting in the ER, and I can't tell you what Spaceboy said because, I'm going to put him under the influence of extreme pain. But he's sitting there in extreme pain. I'm sitting next to him in the ER waiting area. And he makes a comment about some celebrity or something.
Goodness.
And if you're familiar with Spaceboy, he gets the last name slightly wrong in a hilarious way. And I repeated something about it, and we got ourselves cracked up. And if he moved in the slightest, it set off his pain. And I was sitting there with tears running down. I said, "Why do you do this to yourself?" Trying not to laugh, and he was trying not to laugh too because it hurt him.
I did my Seinfeld. I don't know.
And then. We get home.
The actor's name was Peter Dinklage.
Stop.
Okay, I didn't say the joke, though.
Just stop. Anyway, we get home, and so I don't go to work the next day because we didn't get home till 2, 3 a.m. Like, well, I ain't going to work, So he comes over at some point on Friday or Thursday night or something to give me a hug, which is so weird and unprecedented. That just doesn't happen,
And admit it. Well, the thing is that I've been known to pull a few Draculas from here.
I'm telling you, okay, so he comes in like Dracula, quiet, out of nowhere, like, stealthy. He makes it all the way into our bedroom, all the way to the opposite side of the bedroom where I am on my side of the bed. Didn't hear a thing. I did not have headphones on. I was just engrossed in a book on my phone. And kind of had my head down slightly under the covers. I was in my own world. Next thing you know, he's leaning over to hug me, and I screamed bloody murder.
And the funny thing is that I was kind of startled, but I was
scared him too.
I was more. It was more of a laugh startle because you've never screamed like that before.
I screamed like somebody had come in to murder me.
And so that was pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, here she leaves me in the living room because I've been sleeping in my recliner.
Why is it so funny
and I'm like, I look like drooling out of my mouth, and I can't move
You've been walking
any.
like Quasimodo for 2 days, hunched over, and then you've been looking like a zombie. So I guess you were just looking for a little affection. It just scared the hell out of me.
Yeah, see what I have to put up with? She was scared so badly that I wanted to hug her.
I screamed. I really did scream. Because, I mean, you just came in like, suddenly you're there, and I'm not prepared for it.
Yes, exactly. So, but yeah, worst thing to do is to crack a joke when you're hurting so bad,
But
and
you
you know it's
did
funny.
it
Yeah,
yourself.
and it was funny. And but what can you do?
It was funny with a layer of irony on it too. So, but yeah, and then you said something else the other day. I can't remember what it was, but that set me off too.
Well, and then
Well, after I screamed, it struck me as ridiculously hilarious. I couldn't stop laughing. I was crying. I was laughing so hard for like 10 minutes.
I was really surprised.
You had gone away and come back. I was still.
I was really surprised you didn't pull something out and try to throw it at me or whatever. You just kept laughing about that.
Well, I first saw it was when I saw it. It's like, oh God, I can't get to the what to
defend yourself.
Yeah, defend myself because you're standing right there between that and where I have it stashed, and so but I was like, okay. It's just you. I should know better.
So, and then, before we go to break, I just want to point out, in fact, let's see here. I'm going to leave you with this word, and then when we go to break, pillow.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Surlana.
This is author Gordon Root. You are listening to the Spaceboy Universe.
This is K28, and I'm listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hi, y'all. This is Lori calling from Texas, and I love listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hey, this is Dave Cruz, host of Beyond the Strange, and you're listening to Spaceboy Universe.
This is Wendy. I'm listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hey, y'all. This is Lorelai DeLille. I listen to Spaceboy Universe. Don't you? Tell your mom and them I said hi.
All right, we're back. So I left you with the word. I don't know why I do this.
Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Surlana.
Yes, Savannah. Thank you very much. You could get there a little quicker, can't you? Anyway, just messing with my robot voice thing over there. So, the word I left you with was pillow. Now, anybody of the show has listened to us long enough to know that Surlana likes to build this monstrous Swiss Alp barrier between us. And so, for the past several days, I have not slept in our bed because it's been painful to sleep, vertically. So I've been sleeping in the living room in my recliner. It's been
hanging from the ceiling like a bat.
Yeah. Periodically getting down to go hug Surlana, only to be freaked out and to flap my wings back into my cave. So I go in there.
You do that too.
In the morning, and I see that she's got one of my pillows, and she's like, covering her face and everything.
I just covered my face with just a teeny corner of your pillow.
It was no teeny corner.
Because the cat was in there trying to stomp on my head, and I was trying to protect myself.
I just like the fact that you give me the bloody third degree for if I even touch one of your pillows.
You weren't there, man.
Yeah, and you haven't really missed me in there, have you?
Well, it was weird the other night because it was dark in an empty room. I was like, that's kind of strange. But I kind of felt comforted in, like, if anything was going to happen, it would get to you first.
Oh, thank you very much. Good for you.
Oh, good for you.
Good for you.
Good for you.
Oh, my goodness gracious. So anyway, we move off from pillow talk to other things. And
that's actually more interesting.
So what else? Okay, we've kind of mentioned the Infinity movie, and
I
might have
that
spoiled
is
it.
everything. That is everything. It's everywhere. You can't get past it.
Did you ever see a movie called Trilogy of Terror?
That sounds familiar.
It has the Queen of B movies, Karen Black, in it. It basically, in this movie, there was this doll that was like I don't want to call it a voodoo doll or something, but Karen Black brings this doll back to her apartment or whatever, and the doll becomes real and starts chasing her around the apartment. And first off, this doll looks pretty freaky deaky. And 1975 retro horror movie. You should definitely check this movie out. It has freaked a few of my friends out. They have nightmares from this movie, and of course, it has Karen Black in it. She's quite a looker, to say the least. But she's been through all these movies. Another more recent movie that I can remember just off the top of my head was I think it was Deep Star 6, where It had Peter Weller in it, and they were in this.
I remember that.
Oh, you remember that one?
Yeah.
There was 2 movies that came out about the same time: Deep Star 6, and then there was this other one, Leviathan. No, Leviathan was the one with Peter Weller in it. That's the movie.
I saw them both.
That's the movie she's in, is Leviathan, not Deep Star 6. But they're kind of the same thing, horror movie, deep underwater, and yeah, that's another movie you should check out. It's pretty decent. But yeah, 1975 Trilogy of Terror, where Karen Black gets attacked by this voodoo-looking doll, and it's enough to put you on edge because it's just a good classic 1970s movie. Let's see here. I know there was something. Doctor Who is coming to. What is it? It's not Riff Tracks, but it's called, what is it when they show it in the theater?
Live streaming satellite.
Something like that. What is that called? I can't believe I forgot about that. Anyway, it's about the genesis of the dialect, so that should prove to be pretty interesting. That'll be, I think, coming out in June sometime if you're a big Who fan, going back to the original Ultimate Doctor.
Speaking of live streaming, Riff Tracks will be re-riffing, but not riffing Space Mutiny, which they've already done on Mystery Science Theater 3000, which is already a classic, but if you're a fan, you might want to check that out. Well, I may drag you to that one, but for sure we're going in August to see Krull being made fun of live.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Hey, we all kind of knew that Paramount was going to do another Star Trek movie, right? Yeah. Well, the Looper is reporting that there not only going to be one, but there's going to be 2 new Star Trek movies in the works at Paramount. So that should be interesting. They haven't given any details out yet, but I mean, we kind of already know that.
Is this the cast from the last 3?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Starting not to care.
Well, Quentin Tarantino is going to be teaming up, I guess, with J.J. Abrams to produce one of the movies. So that should be interesting.
That should be interesting, but that should be interesting for me.
I think that he'll bring
jumping up and down.
He'll bring the action to the movie, and Quentin Tarantino is known for that edginess and stuff. So
rock and roll kind of Beastie Boys feel.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if they'll keep that theme because
that was JJ's.
That was
theme.
more JJ's thing.
Well, if they're doing it together.
Mm-hmm.
It'll probably seem like a Beastie Boys video.
I guess only time will tell on that one. So, and
well, here's another reason for you to hate the Sci-Fi Channel, for all that we don't have it anymore. So if you were really looking for that TV series reboot starring Kevin Bacon of Tremors, they canceled it before it even got started.
I know, you were telling me that before we hit the air, and I was like, what?
Yep, they axed it before it even aired. Tremors starred Fred Ward at some point, and Michael Gross from Family Ties.
They were the original characters.
Yeah,
the
and
first
of course
movie.
Kevin Bacon, but Bacon was not in the the sequels, but those other 2 guys were. So we may never get to see another one with Bacon. Heading back to Perfection, Nevada, since the rebranded Sci-Fi network said they decided not to move forward on this series. And bad news came from Bacon himself, who revealed this via his Instagram post earlier. They axed it despite filming the pilot episode already completed. So he posted something. That was kind of funny. It won't move forward. Don't know why. It seems like that would be a shoe-in for success for them.
Because originally they were talking about doing a 10-part miniseries.
Yeah, miniseries.
All I know is that sucks because I was kind of looking forward to it. Now with these days of kind of bringing back some of the some movies back and some TV shows back, it's kind of a bummer. Hey, the father of disco, Marauder, is still behind the decks at 78. And let me translate that for some of you older folks, is that when I say behind the decks, he's behind 2 turntables and a microphone. And but at 78, he's still cranking them out. And, as he's done recently, he worked with Daft Punk. And some of the work that he did with them was fabulous. And in case you don't know, he is also the writer of a song that is the theme song that plays at the beginning of Coast to Coast AM. He didn't write it for that particular show. It was actually from a movie called Midnight Run. That particular song that he wrote, it was called The Chase. And so you've heard some of his music, and of course, like Donna Summer, I Feel Love.
Oh, yeah. It's got him all over it.
It's got his stank all over it. And just a great musician. And just I'd hope that when I reach 78, if you haven't killed me by now, that I'm still writing some music like him. So,
I should stop poking you with steak knives in your sleep. So, well, Dan Harmon says he's optimistic about season 4 talks with Adult Swim. He says the progress is being made in contract negotiations regarding season 4 of Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
So it's very much up in the air. They have yet to order the 4th season, despite the 3rd season scoring their highest ratings of any show ever on that network, and of probably any show during the season that it aired. And the delays from Harmon says it's all about the contract negotiations. This time around, the negotiations have become more heated than a family therapy session with Pickle Rick.
Well, obviously, this the Rick and Morty has been one of the best shows that has come out of Adult Swim. It's popular. It has reached pop culture to some degree. I mean, by evidence of the Szechuan sauce from McDonald's. I mean,
oh, man.
Yeah, people went bonkers over that.
They went too far.
And so, even, the Rick and Morty has reached into the lexicon of our everyday language. I'm Pickle Rick, so...
First it was Tiny Rick.
Tiny Rick, now Pickle Rick.
But he says he's optimistic at the moment. Negotiations are tough. It's an unprecedented situation because everybody's being real cool and wants to make an agreement happen so we can get started, but that's all he can say. So, fans are growing testy about it and getting impatient.
And part of that, some of the fans are saying, well, you're not doing anything. Why can't you just start writing so when y'all do get your contracts approved,
Well, he got to pay them somehow.
Yeah, but then, Harmon was saying, well, that would just give them ammunition to say, well, you've already got half of it written. Why don't you go ahead and just finish off the season? It really comes down to is Harmon. I'm sorry, Hammond. I'm thinking of mayonnaise for some bizarre reason. They know they've got a great product, and it's just a matter of time before.
Well, he's had to go on Twitter to calm the flames. He says, spitting vitriol at Turner Network, who owns Adult Swim, or Cartoon Network rather, is not going to help things. They said, just everybody calm down.
Speaking of calm down, do we have a caller on?
We sure do. Let's see what's going on here.
Let's patch him through.
There you go. You're on the air.
Hi.
Hey, Bev. How are you?
I'm fine, but how are you doing? What did you do to your back?
Well, first off, we need to get your computer fixed because can't blame the computer on late starts. I don't know how it happened. It just I got up one day and it was sore.
Your doctor has a theory.
After going through that, my doctor seems to think that my cholesterol pill that I take is causing the issue. So I have stopped taking that pill, and because supposedly the pill can break down muscle mass, and as a side effect, so I've stopped taking it. I'm still a little sore, taking some muscle spasm things right now to help calm me down, and I guess only time will tell.
He's very chill. He sounds lucid now, but he's so chill. He has fussed at me once since we started the program. So that's how I know he's not right.
Well, Surlana.
Well, I know how things are.
Play the freaking note, Dougal.
I know, just play the freaking note.
Anyway, so believe me, I had to coax her out of bed this morning and say, hey, look, you've had a little time off. We need to get back to Space Boy
and
stuff.
I'm like, I will get out of this bed when I am darn good and ready. And I think I waited 40 minutes. I was awake. I just laid there and cuddled with a cat.
And you know, and
I have mornings like that.
There was a part of my brain that was like, I know what she's doing.
Because when I got up, I had to face all this literal crap. The cat had jumped up on something and had licked the lid of a pint of chocolate ice cream. And you know, pets are not supposed to be dealing with chocolate. And we're talking about just the lid, you know, just the residue of ice cream that was left there. Well, it makes them poop pudding, so I had to deal with that, clean that up this morning. So,
oh God.
Yeah, it kind of went downhill from there.
Now wait a minute, she got it out of it was chocolate ice cream.
Yeah, it was just
a little bit.
See, Surlana had chocolate.
The lid.
Yeah, she had chocolate ice cream
now,
for
wait
dinner.
a minute, how did she get it out of the freezer?
Hey, if she had thumbs and upper body strength, we would be in big trouble.
Oh God, same thing with Elliot. Oh my God, he only weighs about 25 or 30 pounds. He's a big boy. What's funny is he's bigger than Dino.
I was wondering when the Dino was going to come in.
Taller. Huh?
I was wondering when Dino talk was going to come in. Your Dino?
Yeah, our Dino. And it's so funny watching them play. Oh my God, they get to rip roaring through the house, and you have to stay out of their way because they don't stop when you're coming towards them.
Well, that sounds about like Dino, so, you know.
Oh, man. Well, I'm glad you are doing better. You had us worried.
I worry a lot of people, but I keep trucking. But it's nice to know that they're...
He's better yet. We're just wait and see.
Well, you know, I'm managing. It's not as bad. I'm not having the...
He's not walking like Quasimodo anymore.
I'm not having the stabbing pain. I mean, I'm having...
Seriously, he was hunched over like he had a big hump on his back, you know.
Ring the bell.
Oh, I did that one time. I had a compression fracture of one of my vertebrae, and I couldn't stand straight up. I mean, I was just... Bob had to help me walk and get dressed to go to the hospital.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, well, I had to drive him.
Straight up.
I had to drive him and escort him, and then I had to drive really super slow.
Well, I mean, for
and
bumps.
carefully, you know, and it's stupid speed bumps and anything that jarred his arm was bad.
Yeah, because basically, I have tendonitis in my shoulder, my rotator's cuff, and then there's a swollen muscle. It's basically between my shoulder blade and my spine. So I'm just batting 1,000.
It's eating your muscles.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I got a bulging disc in the lower part of my back, and I've got scoliosis, curvature of the spine, and I just got arthritis all through my body. I mean, the older you get, Space Boy, I hate to tell you, the worse it gets.
I tell you,
we're already at that age where we're going along fine, and then one morning you wake up and something just doesn't work right anymore.
Well, you know, I was going to say, I had my L4 and L5, I had them herniated and had bone fusion and rods put in my back. So, I mean, I'm no stranger to back issues. And but, you know, the thing is, with the shoulder thing, it really compares to when I was going through all that. You know, before I got the surgery done, I was losing feeling from the waist down from when I would walk, and I was like, you know, anything's better, you know, because they were telling you the surgery might help, it might not. And I was like, man, at this point, you know, the surgery, I'm going to go with the surgery because I can't live like this, you know. At least if I have, you know, some feeling back in when I walk. You know, I'll feel better about it. And of course, you know, the surgery went well, and I mean, I can't be as physical as I used to be, but you know, it's a pain that I'll never forget. And you know, and so when I flash forward to Well, it's kind of like this. When I was talking to my sister a few days ago, you remember, and I was talking to her, you remember when we went to the doctor together, and you told him, y'all need to prescribe something heavier for him because he is in so much pain that I've never seen him drink the alcohol levels that he's drinking. I was literally drinking alcohol to help me with the pain. It was that bad. Oh, wow. And ultimately, you know...
Now that's bad.
Yeah, so they gave me some good stuff, and eventually I had the surgery. And so, yeah, I guess the long story short is that I'm no stranger to pain. I'm always in some kind of chronic pain, but most of the time I'm able to deal with it. But this pain, you know, with the shoulder thing, has been really bad, and Surlana has seen me in this pain, and she knows that it wasn't right, and that's why we went to the ER, I guess, on Wednesday to deal with that situation.
Mm-hmm. And then you sat there for hours waiting, right?
Yeah. It was difficult.
Typical ER.
Yeah, especially...
Well, you know what they say, don't you? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Well, I guess you might be on to something. It hasn't, but you know what they also say is that keep one eye open when you're sleeping next to Surlana because she might take you out early. Uh-oh. I don't know what she's doing over there.
What's the deal with her muffins jumping on your head, Surlana?
She does that on the weekends. If I lay in bed longer, she can get into our bedroom. She likes to sleep on me, crawl on me, use me as a trampoline. Tries to get up to my head and scream in my face because I was laying there and I could hear her this morning. Like I heard her from like a distance. I thought, well, he's gone and shut the hallway door that blocks off this side of the house with the bedrooms from the rest of the house. And so she must be screaming about wanting to get in. Well, I kept hearing her from a distance, and I guess I didn't realize he had not shut the doors. And the next thing I know, it went quiet. It was like dead quiet, and I'm like about to drift off to sleep. There's no noise, and all of a sudden, right next to my right ear, Row! And I'm like, holy! He pulled a Spaceboy, and she pulled a Dracula on me. So I get it from him, and I get it from her. So, I mean, it's no wonder I'm at my wit's end.
Okay, it's time for full disclosure. So this morning, you know, I told her, you know, Surlana, get up, right? And I knew she wasn't going to get up. So I left the doors open while I took a shower. And sure enough, the cat paid off and went in and did her thing to wake you up.
That's why I had a pillow over my head. Keep her out of my face.
Well... Wait till you get I'll tell you a rude awakening is when your cat brings a mouse into your bed.
She
and
wouldn't.
Puts it on.
She's not that adventurous.
Well, you know, Muffin used to bring crickets in from outside.
Crickets and grasshoppers, but she would just bring them in like, hey, look what I did.
But she's no longer an outside cat.
She can't get outside anymore. So
we forbid it since we had coyote issues over here.
Yeah, so I don't want to get her eaten.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We have everything. We have coyotes, we have chickens, we have turkeys, we have guinea fowl.
Snakes.
We have turkey hawks, snakes,
dogs,
cats,
we had the snake
horses.
You know the old thing where red and yellow kills a fellow? We had one of those snakes in our
coral snake.
Yeah, coral snake.
The actual one that can kill you.
Yeah.
I mean, beautiful looking snake
that
when you
highly poisonous.
Yeah, but he was just slinking along in front of our door, and I was like, just leave him alone. He doesn't want anything to do with us.
I didn't want to touch him.
No, he just went on about his way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Usually if you leave them alone, they won't bother you.
Mm-hmm.
Usually.
But
what was funny with this, that was Tigger that did that brought it, and we had a waterbed, and she jumped up on the bed, right on Bob. And it was on Bob's birthday, right on Bob. And it was like, look, Dad, see what I brought you? I screamed and jumped out of bed. And it's a wonder Bob didn't flop out of the bed when I jumped out. I'm like, get that thing out of here. I said, well, happy birthday, dear.
That's funny.
Oh, God. I'll tell you, we've had our share with animals.
I can imagine.
Well, but they're all our kids.
This will be our last animal.
Yeah, our last.
Yeah, we got once. Well, Dino's 3 years old now, but he'll probably outlive us. No, but and Elliot is almost. Yeah, he'll 9. So he's old for a cat. He's getting up there. But I told Bob, I said, once these animals are gone, that's it.
Mm-hmm. I feel like we've done our part for, because we, Tick Fu, our pug that we had, was a rescue, and Muffin has been a rescue, and, I feel like, karmically speaking, we've done our bit for the universe as far as taking in pets and loving them, and they were both great
Muffin
pets.
is spoiled rotten.
Oh, yeah, Muffin is an original cat. That
I got up today. When I finally did get up, I got up in the living room. She came, still was clingy, very clingy. I think maybe she was still feeling irpy because of her chocolate adventure. And so I said, go away. Nobody likes you. You're just making messes everywhere and knocking things over and pooping in places. And I said, you get away from me. And she just looked at me with her big eyes.
She said, I left you some Jell-O pudding in the kitchen.
But Mommy, I love you. I love you. Oh, and Elliot. Oh, I'll tell you what. He is so... Bob's to blame for that one. He is so spoiled. He knows, usually between 10 and 11, we give him a treat at night. And I'm telling you, he knows what time it is, because long about 10:30, between 10:30 and 11, he'll start carrying on.
Muffin knows when it's 4:30. That's when she gets fed. Every single day she knows what time it is. It's like, it's time.
Yeah.
You get home about that time.
He's hounding Bob right now. Bob had to get up and get him his treats.
All right.
He's something else.
Well, Bev, we appreciate you calling, and I appreciate your concern about me, and it won't be too long before I got the jetpack back on and I'm back to normal, and but yeah, I'm hanging in there, and you're absolutely right. What does not kill you definitely makes you stronger. So.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. I know what you're talking about. Chronic pain. I mean, that's a pain is our uncle. It seems like.
I hope it's
Uncle Arthur.
I was going to say, I hope it's not the creepy uncle. All right, Bev.
I got creepy Bob. Oh, I'm sorry, honey. I love you.
Well, we love you, and
we love you too.
And we appreciate you calling.
And I am just so glad that you're okay.
Hi, Bob. We'll talk to you later. All right, dear. We'll talk soon.
All right. Bye-bye. Love you guys.
You too. All right, so we're at the top of the hour, Surlana, so let's take the second hour, or not the second hour, this next break.
Going into the second hour.
Brought to you by Spaceboy. Here we go.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Surlana.
Hey, Surlana!
What?
If Spaceboy Universe was cheese, would you eat it? Come on now, it's a simple question.
Maybe.
SpaceboyUniverse.com.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Surlana.
Yes, we are. You know, okay, let me tell you about Surlana. I'm going to tell people about you and how devious you are. So, you know, I'm jonesing for a snack. You know, I'm feeling ravenous lately. But I don't know. It could be the medicine I'm taking, whatever. And you know, twice today. Well, first today I saw her sneak you know, out of nowhere, some Pop-Tarts. And the way she was carrying it, it was like she looked like me with my arm all screwed up, holding it down on one side like Quasimodo, as she's been saying. And then she goes and she sits down like I'm not going to notice that she's got something. You know, I guess I'm like a dog or a cat that when I hear the wrapper moving or something, I like, okay, what's that? So she comes in here and into the studio and she brings in her little Pop-Tart, and once again she cannot get her arm flat enough to her side to hide what she has in her hand. And I know she's hiding the Pop-Tart because I can hear the fake aluminum plastic wrapping thing that goes on this thing. And she sits down. And I said, you got a Pop-Tart, don't you? And she starts kind of smiling. I said, I know you do. And so, you know, during the break, I had to get another drink. So I go in there, and I'm like in the hunt for these Pop-Tarts. I said, you probably hid them somewhere. And sure enough, you know, she has a tendency to leave bags on the floor. And so she probably thought, I'll never look down there to see that there's, you know, some kind of thing. It might be trash or something. So she was kind of like hiding it in plain sight near the trash. And I'm like, oh, yeah. And then secondly, she probably thought, well, he's in such bad shape, he can't bend down to pick up squat right now. So, you know, I'm up to your games. So I got me a Pop-Tart, you know, so.
I love that you weave this elaborate plot against you when it's just sheer laziness on my part not to put things away.
It's a conspiracy out there, Surlana. Think about it. It goes into one of our topics.
Oh, it hurts my stomach.
Fringe sciences. Now,
oh, my goodness.
This time on Unsolved Mysteries, Surlana buries Pop-Tarts in the back of the yard.
Oh, you did it to me again. You destroyed me.
Well, you know,
that's twice this 2 days.
You shouldn't hide things from me.
Well, you should be so just, I don't know, irritating. Well, still speaking about Rick and Morty.
Okay.
Apparently, 3 of the biggest fans are people who work on Game of Thrones. The showrunners, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss and Peter Dinklage, who actually is an actor who works on there. I don't know, I've never seen Game of Thrones, so don't want to. So what they did is, you remember DVDs, right?
Yeah, I'm at least that old, yes.
You know, you'd buy a DVD and there'd be this exclusive commentary for each episode.
Mm-hmm.
Well, these 3 guys have recorded commentary for season 3, Pickle Rick, because they're just such big fans. So they decided to let these 3 guys do the commentary. And what I have a problem with when you actually, especially when you're dealing with Harmon, when he tries to do commentary, he goes off on some tangent and he doesn't talk about anything that's happening on the screen. And he'll just have a conversation with whoever's there. And the controversy has mostly nothing to do with the actual content of the shows. So the fan base of Rick and Morty doesn't really get it. And, of course, they can be kind of toxic, as we've seen with the Szechuan sauce debacle. So, yeah, that's what we're saying. That whole thing is inspired by a really kind of probably like a throwaway joke about Szechuan sauce, and it just spiraled out into this year-long controversy. So Benioff, Weiss, and Dinklage joined forces to court. They recorded an audio commentary for Pickle Rick on the DVD. I don't know if the DVD's out yet or it's still coming for season 3. I would think it'd be done by now because season 3's been over for, a year? Going on a year?
And sometimes that's a downside about doing the digital rentals like we do.
Mm-hmm. You don't get that extras.
Right. And then there's sometimes that do the bonus features. And, for example, when I bought Alien Covenant, it didn't have any bonus features. And then, 3 weeks later, they released, the bonus features. Buy this one for $20 for all the bonus features. You know what? That just really gets my...
Well, they're huge fans. Most of their commentary is them just giggling about the hilarity of the episode. There's a clip of the 3 guys talking about their commentary that you can actually go look at. But I think this is kind of interesting. They're letting celebrity fans do the commentary instead of the writer-creator doing it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to see that. But you'd have to have the DVD, or I'd have to look for it bootleg.
Well, it's not like Rick and Morty is not plastered all over YouTube, you know.
You saw the first episode of Westworld, right? Coming back.
Oh, yes. So
was it all right?
I thoroughly enjoyed it because, at first it was like, all right, But as the show progressed and it got towards the end, no, don't end it right there. Stay tuned for next adventure of Westworld. And
so you don't get to binge watch the HBO series, do you?
And the only way you binge watch that is when the season is complete. They release it just, like normal. And I think that's the downside. I think now I've become a binge addict. And, it's so easy to binge watch certain shows that are out there, especially with Netflix. They just poof, here's the whole season. Watch it at your own leisure. Like when I did Lost in Space.
I think that's nice.
To be able to watch a whole season like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so to some degree. But then it's if it's really good, and then you have to practically wait. Hold on just a second. Excuse me for a second.
What are you doing over there?
Well, since you're asking, I'll let you know I had to drink something because the sparkles on the Pop-Tart was choking me.
That's what you get.
I was in sparkle heaven. So the thing I was going to say is that you have to wait practically. Well, you do. You have to wait a year before the next season comes out.
And I've lost interest by then.
It's like I've moved on.
It's like breaking up with a boyfriend or something. Mm-hmm. It's like been a year. Screw you.
And unless it's really good, and it's kind of like this. I was definitely into The Flash, and I started binge watching that and caught up to everything and got to a certain point, and then the next season came out and it's like, I just can't get vested in one season. It's got to be more than one season for me to actually jump in and binge watch it. Now, regular TV offers you 20 to 24 episodes for a season.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas when you're dealing with Netflix, some of their shows are a little bit more than what I call British TV, which is 3 or 4 episodes for a season.
Most, they will do a 6 a season.
Whereas, I call it a cable season, which is about 12 to 13 episodes is a cable season. And so, that's something you'd watch on Sci-Fi or watch on, USA. So it's kind of a bummer to have to wait all that time for something for it to return. Another good example is Better Call Saul.
Now that I will watch. It's been forever, but
we were looking forward to it coming out this past month or so, and of course the thing is it's not coming out until this fall, and so I wonder what's up with that. So sometimes it's a hit and miss depending on the show. Now, like I said, if the show is good, I will probably return to it. And in the Westworld thing, Westworld was one, yeah. It was one of those things, jumping back on the horse and okay, all right, all right. Wait a minute, it's getting good. All right. Wait, I got to wait until next week for the next episode?
I think I'll wait for a few episodes to queue up before I jump into it.
Another show I'm watching from HBO is called Barry, and it's got Hader in it. I can't think of his first name now that I just mentioned him. He's this hitman. I think I described this to you before. Pretty entertaining. He's this hitman. He goes to Los Angeles to kill this guy, and this guy is in an acting class, and somehow he gets drawn into the acting class, and this guy, Barry, really likes doing the acting, so he decides to stay there in L.A., and of course it goes much further than that because he gets involved with a mob that's there, and he has to do these hits, and Barry's starting to get conflicted about certain things, and because he really wants to do the acting thing versus doing the hitman thing, and so if you can get a chance and you can watch that, it's interesting. But once again, it goes to that thing where it only comes out once a week. This is like the first season. It's got Stephen Root in it, who's played in many things you've probably seen before, like King of the Hill, Office Space.
My stapler?
Yeah. Where is my stapler? And, and it's got other actors in it. It's got Henry Winkler in it. So it's not like it doesn't have a bad cast in it. It's got some well-known actors in it that you'll find fun and interesting. So if you can give Barry a try, that's definitely something worth trying. And I'm also started watching the Star show called Counterpoint. And that looks pretty interesting. And I don't want to go into the details on that just yet because I'm still trying to soak it in. Just know that think of our universe at some point splits into two universes, and somehow both these universes can cross over, and it feels at times sometimes like Fringe without Walter White. But it's been pretty interesting. So I'm really liking this episode or these shows I'm watching. But at least I can binge watch that.
Well, speaking of TV, you and I don't have cable. We don't get local channels. We can't see network television or local television. I was supposed we could make arrangements, but we don't care.
Actually, we have the CBS app on Amazon, and we can watch local TV on the...
Well, it don't happen. So anyway, we don't see commercials on TV because we don't have regular old TV.
I know where you're going on this one.
So when we finally did 4.5 hours later get into an exam room at the ER, they had a TV on in there, which you discovered was actually a monitor with no way to shut the dang thing off or turn the volume down. So we were forced to watch basketball and advertisements. And the most hilarious thing I have seen on regular local commercial TV, network TV, was an ad for Facebook and how they're recommitting to the to us, to our privacy. It's one of these feel-good, touchy-feely, hug your children moment, and I was just there dying laughing. Oh my gosh. It's just so like they had to make an ad for national television about, trying to save their butt. I mean, oh my goodness. I can't even get my head around that they felt that they had to do that. I don't know. What are your thoughts as you eat Pop-Tart unprofessionally?
Well, I thought
I've tried to hide from you.
I thought you would have more to say on the subject matter, just that...
my feelings, I can't convey them.
Well, the thing is that we saw through that commercial as a bunch of hooey. It's propaganda. That's why we always tell our audience, question what you see, question what you hear, because what you're being told...
It's like drink the Kool-Aid, drink the Kool-Aid.
Exactly. You're going to die if you drink the Kool-Aid, so it's important that you stay awake on what's being manipulated to you through the media. And this commercial basically is just so... Oh, no, I don't know why you're laughing over there. So anyway, just long story short...
I just remembered something you said one time.
Just don't drink the... Well, you want to share with the class?
No.
It's not shareable?
Yeah, well, it's shareable. Sorry.
Well, now I got me curious.
Well, one night I was in here doing this broadcast, or we were about to do the broadcast, and I guess we're about to go live, or maybe it was a commercial or something, and I needed a Kleenex in the worst way, and there was no Kleenex in this house, so I just grabbed a roll of toilet paper and brought it in here because I felt like it was never going to end with the nose and it's not. So it was in here over a month, and you came over to my side of the studio, and you said, "What are you doing with this over here?" I said, "Well, I needed like Kleenex, and this was all I could find." He's like, "Don't you know that toilet roll paper is a precious commodity and not to be wasted?" I'm like, "What?" Like, the things you say, I swear.
You know, that probably comes out of the fact that, you know, back in the old days, the Soviet Union, people had to wait in lines.
You never lived in the Soviet Union.
Well, I wanted to be prepared in case this country ever got to the point where I had to wait in line for toilet paper.
You are a complete weirdo.
No, I just have certain rules, like the cupcake theory, and, you have to level down from a cake, and,
Okay. We've got loads of time. Please share with the world your 12-step cake program.
Well, the thing is, Surlana bought this cake that was subpar for her birthday. And, granted, it is her birthday cake. And, I guess, did you want that cake in particular?
Well, there weren't any options. It was on a Sunday, and it's like, well, it's either this or nothing. So
basically, she got the cake.
I was going to wait till my actual birthday. But
the important thing is that you have your pre-birthday cake, which was the one you ate, and then there's the actual birthday cake you buy that's supposed to celebrate the moments of your life. And then you got to taper off from that, and then the next thing is you buy cupcakes. And they've got to have the butter cream frosting.
So you got to work yourself up to the cake, the real cake. Then you got to come down off of it in a measured.
You don't want to crash. You don't want to crash from a birthday cake. That's
that is his 12-step cake program. In case you're needing help.
Yeah, so it's important that you step down a little bit by a little bit, and the best way to do that.
You don't want to go cold turkey with your cake.
No, because you're not going to have cake for a while. I mean. The reality is, you might have a friend or two that has a birthday, and you're not going to trek 40 miles to go to their house to celebrate. That's the birthday cake limit.
Yeah,
you can't travel outside the 40-mile radius because
if you have a friend, that also helps to have friends.
You got a friend in me. Anyway, so
I don't have any friends that live
close
less
by,
than 40 miles away.
That's my theory about the birthday cake is that you got to taper down, ease yourself down because, you inject yourself with all that delicious buttercream frosting. And
that's the problem is the first cake I got did not have buttercream frosting. It was something called elite frosting, and I don't know what that is.
I think it was water. I tell you what it was.
Water.
It reminded
was thick
me.
Water?
For me, it reminded me of shaving cream water. Is that when you're shaving and you knock the crap off your razor into the water, I think that they have that kind of bowl in the back somewhere in the bakery, and they say, hey, this would make a great frosting for a cake. And, it even has black sprinkles or whatever came off your face. And so I think that's the kind of icing that was on the cake that you had before your birthday.
But the thing is, it was my birthday.
True.
And if I was satisfied with the cake, that should have been the end of it. But no, he drove me there 3 days before my birthday and kind of pushing the fact that I need to get cake. And then once we got somewhat done with the cake, it's like, we're done with this. We didn't even really finish it all the way to the end. He's like, no, you need a do-over cake for your actual birthday. And so the other one I got was a chocolate cake with buttercream frosting. And it was like, maybe the size of a sheet of printer paper, maybe even smaller than that, because the other cake wasn't.
I think
that was like 9 by 10, and this was probably
had better taste to
it. So the second little cake was the right cake, and then he's like, well, it's been 2 days. You've got to get more of this back in your system because it'll be a shock to your system if you just suddenly stop having cake. Now you need to get cupcakes.
Well, the thing is that, your body goes into this like, oh, that's good cake. I need more cake. And you don't want to buy another sheet cake. That's just ridiculous because you're just going to...
Oh, sure. That's overkill.
That is overkill. So you buy cupcakes.
Day 9.
You buy cupcakes so you can pace yourself out of cake existence. And so that's why it's important to, like you can have.
So this is just us having insane conversations tonight.
Yeah. So this is the kind of conversations we have on a daily basis. Is the cupcake cake conundrum.
Well, you told me this. You were sitting in your recliner, like this was my birthday. Was like what, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and I just stared at you from the hallway. My jaw was just dropped, and I'm like, "You're not real." I just walked away from you.
But the thing is that we got the cupcakes. We dosed ourselves off, and now we're good. At least until November.
I only got the cupcakes because you're man pitiful right now.
Whatever. You got cupcakes not because
you're in pain and you're sad.
With
your droopy arms and your droopy lips.
Okay, but the thing is, I'm not hiding Pop-Tarts as I go in and out of rooms.
I came home. I put the grocery bags on the floor. Some things I put up because they're refrigerated, and other things I went, screw it, I ain't dealing with this now, and that's where it stayed. It's not my fault if you thought that was all garbage sitting on the floor.
Okay, I was going to bring the meat up, but,
What happened was...
Oh, God, that hurts.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, tell our audience what happened.
I bought some ground sirloin, and it's in a... You know how your sausage comes in that...
How does my sausage come? Basically, what Surlana is describing is that sometimes, when you buy meat from the department, it comes in a plastic tray versus...
clean pants to change into.
And sometimes it comes in a tube.
Tube. Tube. So it was ground sirloin in that tube that you have to cut it and squeeze it to get it out of there. Well, we'd had some problems this week, so I didn't get to make every meal planned. So, the meat goes past its expiration date. And I was trying to throw things away, working fast and furious, and I pulled this meat tube out, and I just was like trying to do a layup, do a three-pointer into the garbage, and it missed, and it bounced off, and it hit, and went across the kitchen. I'm like, I'll get that later, and it's still there.
Which was supposedly disguising the Pop-Tarts as trash. And so...
When is our next break? I have a problem.
I do too, and quite frankly, I need another muscle relaxer because my back is hurting really bad right now. And
I really need to leave now. Seriously, I gotta go.
Surlana, I don't know about you sometimes. You usually point the finger at me, but the reality it's you. Anyway,
maybe we both have muscle relaxers.
Oh, well, Surlana, you deserve this. So, hey, kids, don't go anywhere. We're going to take a little break so we can readjust, and we'll be right back with more antics of Spaceboy and Surlana.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Surlana.
The epic battle begins this Friday. Direct from ringside at Laser Death Melt Pit. Bot versus Bot in Galaxy's 2-ton weight championship, where your challenger, Good Bot, will face the reigning champion, Bad Bot.
You're terminated.
Reserve seating starting at $30. 2-drink minimum, where ladies don't get in free. This is an SBU production.
You're listening to Spaceboy Universe.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Surlana.
All right. We're back, and I believe we've reached some composure.
Composed ourselves.
Apparently, I've really tickled Surlana over there.
My face hurts from laughing at you.
I think that the audience is loving it tonight, and
they're sick too. So
it's space madness is what it is. And I think we might have a caller here pretty soon.
I'm just waiting on it.
Yeah, so keep an eyeball on that.
Yeah.
So
there might be a little delay between
the actual music playing and stuff.
Yeah, what people hear and what we do. Mm-hmm. I was just telling Spaceboy, I said, this might be a broadcast I actually go back and listen to, because I rarely listen to him because, well, I don't like me, so.
She doesn't like her fabulous accent, is what she's saying.
I don't know, just, it's more than that. It's some sort of self-loathing, so, but this seems like this might be enjoyable.
Okay. Yeah, you'll probably, chuckle like you when you go to bed and you're reading something and
trying to be. Okay, we have a caller. Yay!
Hello.
Hello,
Are
caller.
You there?
Are you there?
Hi, this is Catalina.
Hello,
Yay!
Catalina.
I haven't called in since your anniversary show, so it's about time, right?
It's about doggone time.
So since you're sharing some silly stuff, I thought I'd share some stuff with you.
Oh, awesome.
We like silly stuff tonight.
Some silly and some, and then the last thing I'll tell you is my horror stories as a prep cook. Silly stuff. I have these glasses that I use for computer. I've got like glasses all over the place, but I only have one pair of glasses that's specifically for computers, right? Because it's got the correct distance. Well, I got them a long time ago, and I thought, oh, these are cool. They don't have a bottom frame, right? Which is they charge a lot, and then it turns out it's just like fishing line.
Right, I've had those before. I've had that before.
But the funny thing is, the top is so light colored that sometimes, like when I went out to get some water and come back, I put it on something that you can't see them, so when you come back, you put the glasses because they blend in. There's no frame that sticks out.
I've had Spaceboy do that. I've put my glasses down somewhere, and you can see them, but my eyesight's so bad, I couldn't see to find my glasses. I'm like Velma for Scooby-Doo, and I'm like, can you help me find my glasses? Because I can't see where I put them, and I didn't put them anywhere crazy.
And I have a backup pair where I know exactly where one are, so that I can actually find my glasses. So
I'm not at all surprised that yours would just camouflage themselves.
Oh yeah, or like I really just need glasses for reading, but also just being up close. So I've got to the point where sometimes I'll just wear them on my head, and then sometimes I forget they're there because my hair's so thick, and I'll be like looking for another pair of glasses to use. Oh God, I became one of those people that put them on top of their heads and then get another pair of glasses.
Well, at least you don't leave them on top of a car when you drive off with them up there. That's the worst part.
Oh no. Anyways, wanted to say happy belated birthday to you, Surlana. I'm glad you had a good, yummy cake.
Well, yeah, it was cake all week long. I mean, it was like 9 days of nonstop cake goodness, and he's weird.
Plus, I wanted to make sure she had cake in case the apocalypse came, and
Yeah, it was supposed to end on my birthday.
Yeah. So since it didn't end,
cake apocalypse never happened.
Yeah, cake apocalypse never happened.
Right, I'm that way about chocolate. I always hide chocolate somewhere in the house in case of the end of the world.
Yeah, but are you hiding it from a significant other? That's what he gets upset about. He thinks I'm hiding things from him.
You are. Just like you bought a Kit Kat the other day too, and you were.
I wasn't hiding it. It was in the bag that I brought it home in. Still.
Yeah, but did you tell me that you bought? Hey, I bought a Kit Kat. You want to share it? No, you didn't. And the word "share" is not in your vocabulary.
My grandmother was like that. My grandma was like that. She used to get these good boxes of See's candy that come out of California.
Yeah.
And she'd hide them way up in the closet shelf so my grandpa couldn't get them. You know, I was like, my God, you have to hide chocolate that high up.
But if you have a Kit Kat, you have 4 Kit Kat, and you share it, you have 2. That ruins your entire experience.
The thing is, I'm not asking for like you to give me the whole dang Kit Kat.
Cat Kit.
I'm asking for just maybe a nibble, and you can't even give me a nibble.
I can't trust you with your definition of nibble. I don't think your definition of nibble is the same, because your definition of sip, can I have a sip of your beverage, is something I call the Guerrero Gulp, because that's his last name. And it's like, gulp, 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 gulp. That's a sip, and like half your drink's gone. So you aren't to be trusted with quantities.
It's always better when somebody else has something, than to go get it yourself. That's true.
No, the thing is, Catalina, when I go shopping or I think of her, and in fact,
it's marriage counseling night, Catalina.
The other day, in fact. She was like tripping out over the fact that about Cheetos cheese puffs, and usually I'll get a bag to tide me over on my way home from work.
I was not tripping out.
So this time I brought her own bag, and you know what she does? Well, this is just too small. Why didn't you get me the economy size bag or something like that? Why can't you just be happy that I just surprised you with the bag?
No,
of cheese
I was
puffs?
just pointing out, did you know that there's a snack size that when you get the Doritos, Cheetos in that long boxy thing, that's like a little snack sandwich size, and then you get the grab bag that's over there by the register on the way to checkout. But there's different size of snack bags.
They are.
Mm-hmm. Then you get the one that's supposed to be for families, and I'm like, have you ever noticed there's 3 sizes before you get to the regular size?
Translation: why didn't you bring me the family size bag of cheese puffs? I deserve a family size. You should be happy that out of the kindness of my own heart.
I didn't ask you to do that.
And I understand the sizes, because there is a size that's called the 25-cent size.
Yeah,
where
it's got 5 Cheetos in it.
It's got 5 Cheetos in it. Yes,
and 20 pounds of dust.
Yes, exactly. And I didn't bring you that one.
Oh. Next time, just get the biggest thing, whatever, and see what happens.
Well, I'm testing her. That's what I'm doing. I'm testing to see if she'll actually bone up and give me at least a nibble of a Kit Kat next time. So,
there you go. Another thing I wanted to say, thank you for your music. I've been listening in my car and at home, and I'm really getting into it. And the funny thing about it in a car is it really is like a dance tune. It's dancey music, and so I find myself doing weird hand things, the hand things in your car, because you can't do, you got to drive it, and I'm just like really rocking out sometimes, and then if I come up to a signal or stop sign, I forget that I'm still doing it, and I get the weirdest looks from people, and I go, oh my God, I'm dancing in the car, and they're staring at me.
Well, yay, your music makes her look like a weirdo. Yay.
Well, that's cool. I appreciate the fact that you let us know that you're jamming out to it. And, of course,
now you're self-conscious.
If you have people that want to, are like-minded, and, make sure to share. And, you have my permission.
Oh, I will.
Because that's a part of the new Spaceboy music thing, is that download it, share it, and most of all, play it loud. And it sounds like you're more than playing it loud. You're jamming and dancing in the car. It is good car music too.
It is. I don't see other people dancing in the car like I do. They must not be listening to the right music.
Exactly.
I find myself doing that too.
So I'm going to. Do you?
Yeah.
And I always say, "Can you do that again?" And she says, "No, I'm not going to do it again."
I don't take requests.
Okay, so you ready to hear some horror?
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Enough about our sad stories. Go ahead, tell us.
So I was a prep cook, I don't know, many years ago. And I'd only been a prep cook before that, like even longer. But it was the only job that was being offered in this town that I was living in, a little tiny town. And I thought, well, I used to like it, cutting up vegetables and all that stuff. Let's try it out. Well, I went in there, and they, give me a long, long interview, but they didn't wouldn't let me go in the back of the kitchen to actually look at it, because I wanted to scope it out first to see if something else what I like. Well, no, they wouldn't let me, and I'm like, oh, well, how bad could it be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this restaurant was built, it was an old part of I won't say exactly where it was, but it was part of a train depot place. And this building I don't know how it served the train depot station, but they converted it into a restaurant. Well, the back really wasn't big enough for prep cook station that serviced the one wall, and then they splitted it and then put the cooks in front of that. And then, of course, the rest of it was just, there just wasn't enough room. So the way they did it was they squished everything together. So they had the two big burner stovetop things, but they're almost kind of a little bit off the ground because you had to put these 25-gallon pots on top of it, so you cook all kinds of stuff in it.
Right.
But then right across from it, they would put refrigerators. And I thought, the big ones. And I'm like, why would you do that? And then to the side of that would be the ovens. You'd have all the ovens. And if there wasn't, like, two people really couldn't be side by side with each other, right? Like, you could pass if somebody was sideways, but you couldn't be, I forgot what you were how you say that, but, like elbow to elbow, there wouldn't be ribs. That's how small the in between was. And so sometimes you get, 4 or 5 people, and you're all cooking, and you're prep cooking. So you prepare the food before the cooks cook the food. And this was like kind of Cajun type of food, Cajun French type of food. Really hard stuff like creme brulee. I've never made that. Really hard to do, right? But you're stirring on these big 25-gallon pots. I don't know if you've ever cooked creme brulee, but you have to put a ton of really expensive ingredients in there, and you have to use thermometers and all this. Well, they had this knob that knocked off all the time. It didn't, the turn knob knocked off, so you'd have to put it somewhere. But then at the same time, you couldn't let it boil over. So then you'd have to run really fast to get the knob on before all 25 gallons of frothy milk and those stuff would go all over the place. Same thing with gumbo. It was crazy. And I just had, another part hard with it is that you give you a recipe and it would be like 3 cups this, 6 cups that, or something like that. But the ingredients, food itself, when it came from trucks, it was in a different container. Well, you didn't always want to put it in a cup and measure it, right? So you'd have to always keep converting. Like a pound of this equals how many cups of that? They thought, I should get paid to be, a mathematician here, not to even be a prep cook. You have to be really smart, and so you'd be always converting. It was driving me crazy. And then I'll tell you one more story. One time I was cooking, and it was gravy. That's another thing, really hard to make, in a 25-gallon. And the one of the managers was really sick. He shouldn't have even been there, and he's like almost dying and stuff. And I'm trying to make this gravy, and there's just a few of us that day cooking. And finally, his girlfriend came and took him to the hospital. And this gravy just would not thicken up. And finally I go, if I keep cooking this thing, it's going to taste awful, right? 25 gallons. So I thought, it's got to be okay. So, I closed it up and put it in the walk-in. And in the walk-in food, that's another issue. I would have never taken the jar if I knew I had to wrestle these. I don't even know how much they weighed, like 30 pounds or something of mayonnaise and sour cream.
Right.
It was insane. And so I'm getting there. So I hadn't worked for about a week, and I went back, and I come back there, and everybody's kind of giving me this stink eye. I'm like, God, what did I do? And somebody finally said, and they said, when last time she worked, and she made the gravy, the other manager came, who wasn't, he's always ornery. Well, I guess when he went to get it wasn't thick, so he got really mad because he had to, cook it back again. But I guess he slammed it on the counter, and it went flying all over the wall.
Yeah, it was liquidy.
Oh my God. And I was like, what? And I go, oh my God. I go, I'm sorry. I go, that must have been that really horrible day. They're like, what day? Oh, the day when the manager almost died. And the guy goes, this guy next to me goes, oh, you mean that there was the bad karma of that day went into the gravy? Yes, that was it. I only lasted 2 months at that job. I said, that's it. It was like the hardest job I've ever done. I wouldn't even do it for $50 an hour. Prep cooking is the hardest. Mm-hmm. It really is.
We watched Kitchen Nightmares.
Have you ever cooked in a restaurant?
No, I haven't, but he's been a manager.
Yeah, I've done restaurant work, and I know the difficulties.
Oh, you know.
Yeah, so I know, and then she was bringing up Kitchen Nightmares, and I so enjoyed that show when it was on with Gordon Ramsay.
How much of it was real, I don't know,
but just Gordon going through his motions of quality control.
I doubt they planted mold, rats, and roaches, though.
No,
those are probably real.
Stuff. I mean, the worst enemy you have is the walk-in cooler, and you got to make sure that stuff is being rotated out, and some of the stuff that some of these restaurants had in their cooler,
ages.
Fresh produce. It's not meant to stay in there
frozen
indefinitely.
Stuff,
yeah.
with freezer burn,
and then the fact that some restaurants were using frozen food instead of making it fresh. And when you're in a restaurant, it's different when you're in fast food. The expectation,
it's garbage anyway.
It's garbage anyway. But when you have a restaurant, there should be no reason, because like you were saying, you were prepping vegetables and stuff like that, and getting stuff ready for the chef. You're trying to make it as fresh as possible, which translates into food your clientele is going to enjoy and taste, and so yeah.
It's just a matter of people get tired, or maybe they I don't care about my job anymore, and they get lazy, and
Well, the thing is that you got to appreciate the fact that she went in there and tried it out. I mean, most people were like, I don't want, they'd be hesitant, but Catalina, you went in and you wanted to try it out, and you should be applauded by the fact, hey, you tried it. It didn't work out for you, but you tried, and that's more than a lot of people can say.
I'd never do it.
So,
because the tough cook that I had a long time before that, you didn't do any measuring on, because this was French cuisine, so it had really complicated recipes like gumbo, gumbo, things like that, and creme brulee. These things talk about that. I mean, that is really hard thing. It has all these different creams and sugars and real vanilla that you have to, shred, but the hardest thing about creme brulee is then you have these specific cookie sheet things that are a little bit higher lip on them, and then you have to put water in them. I mean, what a weird dessert. And and you have to put water in them, and then they can't be hard, but they can't be too jiggly. It's the weirdest. But it tastes good, but yeah, I mean, that French Cajun food is probably one of the most difficult, I would say, to make food. But yeah, and then I was getting back to the fact that I had to measure. I thought I was going in there and just going to be cutting, and then the vegetables come already pre-cut. A lot of restaurants now, you don't even do that. I thought that I like cutting vegetables; it's fun, but they don't do that anymore. It all comes pre-cut, all of that stuff. You just have to measure everything and mix it and everything. But yeah, so that was the end of my restaurant. I had been waitresses before too, and I had a lot of horror stories with those. But after that, I was okay. I'm retiring from restaurant. How long ago was it when you did restaurant?
It was back in the mid '90s, and yeah. So it's been quite a while. I'm a jack of all trades now. That when I start thinking about the jobs, after that, I ended up working for Blockbuster Video for a period. Then I went back into the restaurant, worked at a Papa John's, and then from there I went into construction. And when I was in construction, it was like I had this moment where it was cold, it was wet, and I was trying to push water out of the way to find the lines where I had popped the lines out for the laying out the walls and stuff, and fell into 3 feet of water. And I said, you know what?
Oh, God.
I need to get out of this. And then I got into IT work.
Yep.
And yeah, so.
That's funny. That's exactly when I decided to get out of IT work. When I went to put a computer back, and I had to put it on the floor. That's where they had it. And it was this dirty carpet. And I had to kneel down in economics graduate students' toenail clippings. And went,
Yes.
you know what? I am so done with this.
Those are the horror stories of.
I am so done with IT work.
You know, it's like I'm sure you could talk about things that you've dealt with when waitressing, but as an IT guy, the things that you find underneath desk is like it's incredible.
Mostly 6-legged and 8-legged things.
Well, you know, you have those, and you have the toenail clippings, and
I was like, I gotta get out. And it was like months later, I did get out.
It's fallen to the ground because you just couldn't put it in your fat mouth in the first place.
I was like, they literally don't pay me enough.
So, you know, the horror stories, you know, that, you know, things, and then, you know, it never seems to fail that when I have to pull a computer and open it up and, you know, check the inside of a computer, that I get some kind of respiratory kind of situation for the next couple of days. But yeah, I've seen all sorts. I mean, here's another thing. I worked for Aaron's Lease to Own at one time, and we acquired a computer back from a customer that wasn't making their payments. And so, of course, I get it into the back, and I start to open it up. And what happens when I open it up? 50,000 roaches came out of the case. I was like, oh, my God.
It's like that show we liked, Dirty Room, Another Dirty Room.
Yeah, so... Yeah, I've seen all sorts of things, you know, over the course of my years, and like I said, I'm literally a jack of all trades, and I've done a little bit of everything, and you know, but that's why I praise you, Catalina, is that, you know, in each one of those situations, you know, I went into a job, you know, and sometimes I didn't know what I was facing, but I needed to work, but I was willing to do what was necessary, and you know, I worked there, and you know, over time, you know, it didn't work out for me, or you know, maybe I found something a little bit better, used it as a stepping stone, and so I always have positive feedback for people like yourself that, hey, I like the idea of doing this, I enjoyed this, went in there, it wasn't my cup of tea, but at least I tried it. You can chalk that off your list and feel good about yourself knowing that, hey, I did this, and
well, you've buttered her up thoroughly there.
Well, I do. I appreciate people that at least try to go out there because, you know.
Oh, I've definitely been a jack of all trades as well. I just wish I would have gotten paid a lot more money for it all.
Oh, trust me, I totally understand where you're coming from.
All right, well, thanks for listening to me, and I'm glad I got to call in.
Yes, yes.
Wonderful.
Hopefully, you know, we'll hear from you in September, when we'll be going into our third season of Spaceboy Universe, and we appreciate you coming along in the journey. And of course, like I said before, don't be afraid to share the music with somebody that you know might be interested in it, and tell them where you found it.
You bet. I love it. Thank you so much.
You got it, dear.
Okay. Good night. Bye-bye.
Good night. All right.
That was lovely.
Yeah, it was great to talk to Catalina. So. I guess you're ready to take the next break?
Yes, now that we've calmed down and composed and we've changed our underwear and everything.
Go back to your desk, settle down,
and
focus. And so on that magical note, focus on this next break.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Surlana.
The epic battle begins this Friday. Direct from ringside at Laser Death Melt Pit. Bot versus Bot in Galaxy's 2-ton weight championship, where your challenger, Good Bot, will face the reigning champion, Bad Bot.
You're terminated.
Reserve seating starting at $30. 2-drink minimum, where ladies don't get in free. This is an SBU production. You're listening to Spaceboy Universe.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Surlana.
Thank you, Savannah, our robot voice. It's always a pleasure to hear from you. All right, and I got an eye roll over there. So, Surlana, where do we go from here?
Ridley Scott doesn't understand the alien anymore.
What? I think I've heard something to this effect.
Well, I'm going to get your take on this in a minute.
Oh,
here.
you know, I'll be full of it.
Ridley Scott says he wants to replace the creature in his own franchise. He doesn't seem to understand the xenomorph anymore. You know, this creature was considered groundbreaking, you know, when it came out Aliens, and when he returned to the franchise with Prometheus, it was really highly anticipated, but that actually split his fans, you know, down the middle. So with Alien Covenant came out, I think it was sort of like anticlimactic when you've actually got to see the xenomorph as we know it, because as I told you before, that white pseudo xenomorph, like the prototype before it became, you know, that was way more disturbing. And I think that's the direction they might need to check out when, of course, that was the work of the android David when he was tinkering with it.
Right, to get the final product.
So, and of course, you know, we've seen Alien versus Predator, Alien, you know, this, that, and you know, Alien 2, Electric Boogaloo, everything Alien.
Yeah, because
so it could be overexposure at this point. We're just not afraid of it anymore. The engineers were creepy. We could explore those a little bit, you know. So it could be that he doesn't know what to do with the fear factor anymore. Or, you know, well, here's what I want to propose to you. If these things jump out and they attach themselves to whatever organic thing. So if they've been attacking humans, they go into that black xenomorph, as we know, and they're always that. How come they can't be more open to tweaking? Like, let's say they attack a person and that person has a strange disease. Does that not affect them? Wouldn't they be weirder looking? I mean, you know, what if the genetics of that person was just a bit different? And so why can't they be more varied? Why do they have to be so similar?
Well, you know, if you want to take Alien 3 into account, where one of the facehuggers, I guess, attached itself to a dog, and the alien that came out of that.
Lame.
Well, I'm using that as an example.
Yeah, but they can do it.
So you're saying my example's lame, huh?
No. That the way they handled that was lame. The CGI was lame.
Well,
you know.
True, and that's why that particular, you know, part of that it gets a bad rap. But you know, it introduces the DNA thing, that when a facehugger attaches itself to a victim, that it takes on part of the DNA. Because when that particular xenomorph busted out, it had the attributes like the dog, like it walked on all fours. You know, so, and then if you want to go as far-fetched as when you have Alien versus Predator, you know, like the second one, when it takes place in that town, and you have the, the Predator Alien? So it basically had an alien with dreadlocks.
Right.
But it had some,
weird.
I know, kind of weird and everything, but the thing is that I think that if you look at what David's been doing genetically, I guess he created a species that adapts itself based upon the DNA of its victim.
Then Covenant has set itself up with he could keep going and experiment and change.
He could.
Couldn't he?
He could.
So
and I think that was what the ultimate goal was, that now that you got David on board that ship, and he's got all these, he's got all the crew to experiment with.
That's chilling.
And so he can, create and
that's they're saying basically Aliens has been like a horror movie set in space, just straight up jump, get you horror. But if you go back to where the source material being the artwork of Giger,
right, which is pretty freaky and scary,
there's a level of disturbance beyond regular horror.
Right.
There's an eerie, upsetting, underlying sexual discomfort
Mm-hmm.
if you're disturbed by that thing. It's sort of a taboo attached to it.
Right.
There's sort of a Lovecraftian cosmic horror, which is different from regular slasher horror movie. It's more of a nebulous menace that you can't understand and can't outrun.
I know where you're going with that, and I guess my question back to you would be: is
psychological?
Is he looking, because the original Alien was very psychological in nature, and you didn't really get to see the alien all that much until like the very end.
Yeah.
When Lambert and the other guy got killed at the end, but while Ripley's trying to get that ship ready.
But there's a whole piece of that disturbance missing from the film, unless it was supposed to be Sigourney running around in tiny panties. I don't know. Now they talk about the Alien Isolation game that came out in 2013.
Really good game, by the way.
It's Ripley's daughter is trapped on a space station. It doesn't have pulse rifles or smart guns. You're just cowering in corners, hoping this thing doesn't find you.
And you're using things that are.
I've seen people play it, and it is like you start getting really
tense
into it more than any of the films that have come out. Because it's
really,
psychological.
It really sets it up like Predator and Prey, where you're really, you're trying to hide from this thing.
Yeah, it says that the game uses the same psychological tricks that Scott did when in the original movie. It's the xenomorph in the game is an unstoppable killer that you can't kill it with guns or explosive. In fact, I watched somebody go out an airlock, when they get the suit on, and the thing followed him outside.
Right.
And it was impervious to the vacuum of space.
Right.
So it's like,
pretty hardcore alien. But I guess I can understand, based upon that game and the original movie and the suspense and the horror factor of, that I could see it missing from Prometheus and from, from Covenant. And I look at those two movies as, I think that for me it was more like a story-driven, and we've already know where it's heading.
I've already seen that story.
Because it's taking place in the past. And I think for people who are watching the movies are more in the lines of, okay, so how do we get from A to Z? A little reference for our Canadian audience.
Or English.
So how do we get to A to Z? And my thing is that that's part of the journey. I mean, sure, could she have ran in a different direction when the ship was falling down and rolling? That part was kind of stupid. But, I think overall it was the story. Like, we get to experience, hey, well, how did this happen? Well, how did that happen? Oh, that's interesting, but how does that fit into this? If I think that Scott has missed out in the sense that, if he really wanted to do some horror movie, then he should have taken a different direction altogether. But the way he set this up, I hate to say it like it's his own fault if he's unhappy because he wanted to do this, but he instead did that, Now, I have always been kind of a little disappointed that, what's his name? Van Klomp, or, here I go again. Gumdrop, Professor Doolittle. What's his name? You know what I'm talking about. Come on, Surlana.
Are you doing this on purpose?
Come on, tell me the name.
Neil Blomkamp?
Thank you very much. And so, he had an Alien 5 movie set up where Sigourney Weaver was going to be a part of it, and I can't think of the guy's actual name, but he was the guy that played Hicks was going to be a part of it, and Newt was going to be older, and what they were going to do is, I guess what happened for 3 and 4 would have never happened, and they would have it go right into this movie, and it sounded pretty interesting, and he put stuff out there. Now he's decided not to do this movie whatsoever. Because why? Because Ridley Scott wanted to continue doing all these alien movies. Now you're telling me that he's crying in his Cheerios, that
my monster's not scary anymore.
Exactly, that's what it sounds like. Exactly. So,
well, here's another way to look at it. I'm looking at ScreenRant.com.
Mm-hmm.
This article says Fox needs to finish the Alien prequel trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
We need that third Alien prequel.
They do. We do.
That so I kind of liked Alien Prometheus a little bit. So they're thinking that they need to go back and explore the whole space jockey thing from the original Alien.
Mm-hmm.
The script original dubbed Alien Engineers followed a team of scientists exploring a planet that holds the key to the origins of humanity. Now, the Engineers was going to be a straight-up alien movie featuring the origins of eggs, space huggers, and all those new variations of the xenomorph. But when they started in development, things kind of went wonky. Damon Lindelof was brought to rewrite the script and shape it into more of a spin-off, removing the monsters and focusing on the engineers and their plans for mankind. Which, I don't know why they couldn't just roll that all in there together, but so there's a confusion leading up to the release of Prometheus about its connection to the series, because we were like, is this a prequel? It's not a prequel. It's a prequel. It's not a prequel. Remember that crap?
Mm-hmm.
There was a nod to Giger's xenomorph design with the Deacon creature in the final scene. The movie made it clear it shared the DNA with Alien, but charting a new course. So that was like a nasty little tease.
So here's my thing on this. One, I agree with you. Fox needs to make that next Alien movie and tie it up in a nice bow and say, thank you, Scott, for the memories. It's been swell. Go off and do some other movie right now. Go do 5 Blade Runners. Prequels or whatever you want to do, and because the fans want this tied up. That next movie needs to tie into the space jockey. Now, as far as going back to Scott, if Scott wanted to do the Aliens his way, he should have started with a reboot. It should have started from zero. This is a new, starting from zero, and this is how it all starts. And he would have been able to affect the future of future Alien movies and created the new universe. Okay, we made this, but this is really what I wanted to do originally for the Alien franchise. Cool. Then he could have been happy. People who enjoy watching Aliens would have grumbled, but I think overall would have been pleased. So, but as it stands right now, Fox really needs to make that next Alien movie and tie it into the space jockey, because that's what fans want. They want to know how the alien space jockey got there. Why was that ship full of alien eggs? Where is the dang queen that laid all those eggs? I mean, there's so many questions there that haven't been answered.
Well, that's what they said in Prometheus. The screenplay was messy. There were too many plot holes. It shifted away from the alien tropes too much. But some people did like the big sci-fi budget. It also introduced us to David 8, and they made Covenant partly as a response to the backlash from Prometheus, bringing back the original xenomorph, but also making it clear that the new bad guy is David, which is kind of interesting, but as I said, bleak.
And then let's take it a step further. We didn't see, what's his name? Walter die.
Walter.
We didn't see him die.
Well, he sure has got his butt left on that planet.
Yeah, he's on that planet. So makes you wonder what happens to Walter.
Is he going to go crazy too?
Because, like I said, technically he did not, die. Or, well, you know how they say if you don't see him die in front of the screen, then
he ain't dead.
They ain't dead. Now, since they're on an engineer planet, it's conceivable to think that there are other ships. So it is conceivable that maybe Walter does get off that planet and makes his way to follow that ship after David. So I think there was a cut scene that they didn't show that there were more ships. So
it's been, they said these two prequel-y movies have been more about the complicated relationship between creator, the created, God and the subject, which are deep philosophical themes, not necessarily, horror sci-fi themes, but David is a fascinating character. He's just
complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a man-made monster.
Right.
You know, a man made him, and he was programmed to go kooky. So,
well, you know, the Hyperdyne systems were a little twitchy.
Mm-hmm.
So, as they say.
So they're saying, you know, the reason we need it is maybe we could tie up that loose end too with David. But they're saying they need one that goes before Prometheus.
Why do they need? No, they need one that goes before Alien.
Before Alien.
Alien,
okay, well,
which
I thought that's what we're getting next.
Yeah, that's the one we need to just tie this thing up. You know, be done with it.
We need a final prequel to make good on the promise to link the original Alien to the origins of the space jockey that crashed on LV-426.
In other words, we need a prequel to Alien and a continuation of Covenant.
One of the
fit right in that middle.
Yeah, okay. One of the convincing fan theories has been, get this, they think that David became the space jockey, like the engineers in Wayland, and he destroyed by his own creations. So,
well, that would be interesting to see if they play that out. But
how about them apples?
Them apples are interesting. So, but anyway,
some interesting apples.
Man, that's some interesting. Well, I'm not going to go chicken wise, but you know what I'm talking about. Interesting chickens.
Yeah.
Sweater chickens. Anyway, so it'll pop in your mind just a second here.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Too bad I can't tell people about that one. That's pretty funny. Got to keep it PG. There's a lot of things that have happened over the last week and a half that have been really hysterical, but they're not necessarily
made for
family friendly or politically correct.
Because we're family friendly, politically correct here at the
correct. We're correct here.
Yeah, I had a little tongue tie there. Here at the SBU, so you know. So what else you got before we?
Is this true? A major solo villain still doesn't have a confirmed actor, or is that? Wait, no. The guy's playing Han Solo. They got him right.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't like the way he looks.
And they got Land. Well, you know. Oh.
I'm not even going to see the show, but I don't like the way he looks.
Okay, I probably will go see Solo, the Solo movie that's coming out. But I'm going to tell you, I'm not happy with the guy that they picked for playing Han Solo. There was a few other guys, and one in particular, I can't think of his name, that he had him down pat. I mean, when you looked at him, he had the face mannerisms, he had the speech pattern. I mean, he looked like Han Solo. And I think that he could have been far better than the guy that they got playing. Now, of course, a lot of people are saying they're going to go see the movie because of Lando, Donald Glover.
Because Donald Glover.
Yeah. And then, of course, see how Chewbacca works out. The new Chewbacca works out in this particular movie. It looks good. I don't like the idea of them using modern music to push the movie. There's been a couple of, I guess you're just going to have to see a preview of it, but they used, you'll recognize the music when you see, but anyway, I don't know if there's modern music actually in the movie itself, but the trailers are using modern music to promote it, and I don't like that. I think that when they did that for Star Trek, that really pissed me off too. But if they had used it, I mean, okay, let me get my thoughts straight.
Let me get my straight thoughts.
The fact that they used modern music to reflect as, oh, that's classical music, I thought that was pretty funny, like Sabotage.
Oh,
for Star Trek.
I get what you're saying.
And I cannot think of the song that they used. I can hear it in my head.
What, Beastie Boys stuff?
I don't know. I don't
Sabotage and all that stuff.
For the new Solo movie, I can't think of the name.
Oh, they're doing it. Oh, is this because JJ's involved or?
No, he's not involved in this. But
okay. I get what you're saying.
They're trying to make it cool and hip, and
yeah, and it needs to stay classic.
Now the thing is that I've been watching a lot of stuff lately on YouTube about. There's this one guy that has just been lambasting the head over Lucas Pictures, and for Disney, of course, and how she has just totally screwed with what the fans want. And it gets me is because
Kennedy.
Kennedy. The fans are the ones who demand the movies to be a certain way, and yet they're putting their agenda into the movies and blah blah blah, and just kind of ruin it. Sure, they made over $1 billion for the last movie, but when you take out the cost of the marketing and stuff, was it really that profitable? I'd have to say no, because it could have been a lot more, because the way they treated Luke Skywalker in this last movie was just pitiful. I mean, they made him out to be this wishy-washy guy, and, my nephew just destroyed everything. Blah, blah, blah. Let me get some more milk from this thing that's on the beach. And, I just, it's terrible, this movie. And then this trip that they took to this casino thing, and I know, it's bizarre, couldn't they have made the jump to a planet that was heavily armed with people to protect them, instead of just holding out and letting things affect the way they did in The Last Jedi? I don't like how it's all came together. Luke Skywalker, in my mind, he would have been disappointed in the situation, but I don't think he would have just went to some planet and isolated himself and I got to burn this stuff. The Jedi is over. I mean, it was just an utter disappointment the way they've been handling this. So I guess what we're looking at is possibly Solo movie might not do as well as compared to, say,
Rogue One.
That
was good.
Which that did fan service.
That felt like it belonged with the canon.
It patched up plot holes.
Mm-hmm.
It did everything that needed to be done.
We're sorry. This was such an insane plot device. Let us explain. This is like explaining why Klingons have forehead ridges when they didn't in the original series. So they brought Enterprise out. And this is, okay, we're going to explain this huge, weird gap that we never explained before.
Mm-hmm.
So, but, talking about people manipulating things you don't like, maybe. Turns out, beloved early internet game Neopets was actually run by Scientologists.
What?
So if you're not familiar, Neopets was an online game where kids could learn the basics of the internet and some other educational stuff while caring for virtual pets. So some online entity or a book or a magazine or something called The Outline shared this story that detailed how in the early 2000s, the CEO of the game utilized L. Ron Hubbard's trademark business model, Orgborg, while overseeing the company and tried to integrate Scientology teachings into the game. Orgborg is complicated to grasp, but built on deceptive retaliatory practices. So, I don't know what that means. They were adopting this 80 trillion-year-old practice at first, but slowly came to realize he was populating their offices with like-minded colleagues, and they did everything they could resist to this a full takeover. The employees found out 6 months into working there that they all started Googling the employees, and they were all Scientologists. They didn't mention it when they were hired, but the lady who wanted to bring Scientology onto the site, we fought as hard as we could to get rid of her. So, the Twitter thread is here to help you cope with it all in an effort to recall what she loved about the game, which was sold to Viacom in 2005 and then was relieved of its Orgborg methods. I miss Neopets. I was a board moderator. I won multiple caption contests. I've been told to barely move and let my baby grow, so screw it. I'm going back on Neopets. Very strange. You never know who's running the show behind the scenes.
Pull the strings. Pull the strings. That's interesting, Surlana. I did not know that about Scientology getting into Neopets. You surprised me. Oh, yeah. Speaking of making fun of commercials, the other day when Taco Bell came on, and I was saying, hey, look, the Illuminati is promoting their new menu.
Yeah. Yeah, we saw that in the waiting room at the ER, too. Yeah, it was really weird. We don't have exposure to local TV, cable TV, commercial TV, and there was a local channel on, and the Rockets were playing some other team. I don't watch sports, but that was an interesting game. There was one point where one of our guys, the Rockets, got knocked down to the floor, and he looked up at one of the Timberwolf players, and the look on his face was disturbing. He looked like he'd been possessed by the devil. He looked like he was telling this guy with just his face that he's like, I'm going to come into your bedroom tonight and, rip out your soul. Mm-hmm. He didn't touch the guy. It was just a look at his face like, at last, you've done something to me. Now I can get you back. It was just the weirdest. I've never seen a look like that on a person's face during a game. It was supernatural looking. Like, well, maybe I should start watching basketball.
Well, it usually takes being stuck in an ER before you can, watch things that you wouldn't normally watched. And, I think at some point you said, well, there's some kind of broken line in this. It's really disturbing me. I can't really watch the game.
It was the TV.
I was just really surprised you were watching it, but of course.
Well, there was nothing to do. I mean, there was our phones, and they were going down. Although I did bring chargers because I knew for certain that we were going to be there longer than we needed to be.
Got me over the hump.
Yeah, you got down to like 12%. I had to charge your phone with my charger, so. Well, there needs to be like 2 ERs. One where like, yeah, you're definitely going to die if you don't get help. And then one's like, well, you're probably not dying, but we need to stop whatever that's going on with you. That way you can, separate them out and not have to wait on, I don't know what their criteria is back there, but it's just insane. And I mean, I know when you're in an ER, these are people who are sick and hurting. They're at their lowest point in their life, probably. But it is like a freak show in there. So you don't want to touch anything. You don't want anybody to sit next to you. And it's just like, I don't know what you got, but I don't want it. And it's like being in Walmart.
I thought you said it was worse than Walmart.
It was worse.
Well, God bless a lot of those people because they
I know,
and
bless
stuff,
their hearts.
But
there's this one woman. Oh my gosh, she was like vicious. She was like ready to get away from me. As long as you left her alone, she was fine. She's like, stop talking to me. And I'm like,
really?
dang.
I missed that one.
She was in a chair.
Okay.
A wheeled chair.
Yeah, I totally missed that one. Of course.
Well, you were in pain, Bear. So
I had to tune out and just kind of rest and focus while I was in such immense
that's
pain.
why I tried not to bug you too. So.
All right, so let's take our bottom of the hour break, and when we come back, we'll finish this game show up, and then we'll talk about the feature.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Surlana.
Get your game on Spaceboy Universe. Level up with Spaceboy Universe. No quarters, no problems. Play it at Spaceboy Universe.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Surlana.
All right, we reached the top of the 7th, and it looks like Spaceboy and Surlana are up to bat, and here we go.
Hey.
Hey.
What's up?
I don't know. You tell me.
ABBA announces its first new music in 35 years.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm kind of curious to know what they're going to whip out after all this time.
Well, I don't think they'll be whipping much out after 45 years, but
geriatric pills, the usual stuff.
Musical reunion after 35 years. The Swedish foursome ABBA is back.
I think they got their start from what was it? The Europe contest thing that they do.
You think it's Eurovision?
Eurovision, I believe they got.
All 4 members will be part of the reunion, and it resulted in 2 new songs, including one called "I Still Have Faith in You." That won't be out till December. When it's released, will be in conjunction with the Rolling Stone calls groundbreaking venture that will utilize the very latest in digital and virtual reality technology. Way to get with the times, ABBA.
Wow.
So, a tour featuring digital versions of the band members de-aged to look like they did in 1979.
I wonder if that's a little bit like, when Tupac did its thing and then they did Michael Jackson.
It will be a two-hour TV special to air on NBC and the BBC. It will be familiar but also modern. So it's composed of 2 divorced couples. They're able to tolerate each other in the studio, although they'll never tour together again. So you can't expect them to join forces again on stage. They will not do that. So I think that's interesting. I grew up in the 70s where that music was around, and I didn't really have a mind for it until late 80s, and I started to hear it again as I was older. I'm like, oh, this is good, So
let me just see if we're in sync. Do you have an ABBA song in your head right now?
Fernando.
Mm-hmm. I had Waterloo.
Something in the air that night. The stars were bright, Fernando. They were shining there for you and me, for liberty, Fernando.
Waterloo. Da, da, da. That takes me back to, I have a playlist based upon Art Bell's music that he enjoyed playing on his show. He was a big ABBA fan, and he enjoyed ABBA. Yeah.
Well, I think he liked 70s stuff, didn't he?
Well, I guess from that time period. But, yeah, ABBA. Who didn't like ABBA, right? Did you ever confirm?
Lots of people didn't like ABBA.
Did you confirm my Eurovision thing?
No, I didn't.
How they came on the scene? And but, it's impressive that you have, I don't want to say they were one-hit wonders because they weren't. They had...
No, they had more than one.
Yeah, one album hit wonders or...
Their CD ABBA Gold was, I think, was a good seller. I have a copy of it, or my mom had it, and I just acquired it.
But it's one of those things where the staying power of just a handful of songs transcends all this time and space. And even today, when you hear an ABBA song, it's like, hey, the young and the old enjoy the music. It's good music, happy music. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Uh-oh, I'm afraid you're starting to laugh there.
No, it's just nothing.
Is it K28 cracking the jokes again?
Oh, my goodness. T-Mobile and Sprint said to be close to a $26 billion merger.
T-Mobile with whom?
Sprint.
Okay, I don't know if that's bad or good.
Also saw in passing that Sprint is going to make up a new unlimited data plan for people over, is it 65 or 75?
You mean in age?
Yeah.
A new unlimited plan, because you know why? They're probably not going to use all that data. It's people like us that use when I say us, it's people like me that use all that data.
Well, our entertainment system now has become our phones. Mm-hmm. When we're not at home. Because where we get Wi-Fi, we can get on our own Wi-Fi at home. But like when we were at the flipping ER, we were just glued to our phones because you don't want to look at other people when you're in the ER waiting room. You don't want to engage in that crazy.
You don't want to make eye contact.
No. or breathe or touch, you know.
Which kind of reminds me of the dream I told you about the other day, where you and I were in this van, and we saw this guy have an accident on a motorcycle, and I said, "Hey, shouldn't we stop and maybe call 911?" And you went, "Nope," and you kept driving. Yeah, that was in the dream. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
So,
because you asked me, you told me about the dream. You said, "Now I asked you if you should stop." Now guess what you said? I said, "I'm going to say," I probably said, "Nope, screw that," and kept on driving. He's like, "Yep, pretty much."
I think maybe it was because I had watched some car crash things before we went to bed.
Yeah, we should probably stop doing that.
Yeah, so, but what was funny is you lived up to the expectation. Yes, Catalina, that's one of my favorites, is Dancing Queen.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a classic.
Gimme, 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 Man After Midnight. Also a very funny British TV show called Gimme, 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 which is very disturbing. Think of that show Will and Grace, but take away all the sex appeal and smart humor.
Because she's not that attractive.
No, and then you get Gimme, 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 because you've got a straight woman that thinks she's awesome and she's hot, and she's not, and she lives with this gay guy who's a failed actor who also thinks he's all that, and he's not. But you have to find that bootleg. You can't just get that from anywhere.
Get it through normal channels.
Yeah, so it's hysterically weird and funny if you can find that. It's a British TV show. It's older, Yeah, Sprint reportedly announcing a new unlimited 55-plus plan for seniors May 18th.
Man, so close.
2 unlimited lines for $70 per month if you're 55 or older.
Did they call 55
senior
a senior?
Mm-hmm.
What a load of crap. I don't think that sure, I feel like I'm in a tin can decompressing and being squashed by the gravity of water, but, I don't feel like I'm going to be old at 55.
55 and older, May 18th, in order to better compete with T-Mobile. But my gosh, if they're just going to acquire T-Mobile, then what do they need to do that for?
Yeah, what's the point?
So, see, T-Mobile offers one for $50 a month for unlimited if you're 55 or older. So they're saying 2 unlimited data plans for $70 a month. If you're a Sprint customer who meets the age criteria, it's pretty much a no-brainer, considering they typically charge $100 a month for 2 unlimited lines. We can confirm that. So this plan will be identical to the other unlimited offerings. Like we have unlimited talk, text, data, 3G mobile hotspot, 2G texting, data internationally, along with Sprint's use case specific speed caps, which limits video to 480p, music streaming to 500 kbps, and game streaming to 5 megabits per second. It's not been formally announced yet, but it was leaked out that it might be available next month, the same day that Deadpool comes out. I think May 18th is the same day. Yeah, I thought you'd find that baffling or irritating or upsetting.
Well, as long as it's not AT&T acquiring them, then I'm okay, I guess. Or Verizon, for that matter. I mean, Sprint is, I guess, in the mix somewhere, but they're not as bad as the other two.
Here's what we were talking about earlier. Here's the ad we talked about. Facebook made an ad about how bad Facebook has become. That's the ad we saw on TV. About what made Facebook good in the first place. That's the tone of the ad, and it's running on the TV and movie theaters now through July, and appears during the NBA playoff games, which is, I guess, what we were watching nonstop. And it's a minute long. It looks back at Facebook's older interface and tries to humanize what we do on the network by connecting posts back to real people, with all the sad piano music playing over top. Like I was told, it was these touchy-feely, huggy moments, I was like, okay, whatever. It gets to addressing Facebook's problems. It says something happened, as it were an unexplained phenomenon, and not the result of their own algorithms. And they said they had to deal with spam, clickbait, fake news, and data misuse. Jeez, wonder where that came from. And so this is going to change. From now, Facebook will do more to keep you safe and protect your privacy. Why didn't you do it in the first place? And there you go back to putting the focus on your friends instead of the political propaganda or even actual news. But the thing is, Facebook can't stop that racist uncle of yours from posting stuff and putting it on your wall. That's where a lot of the stuff comes from. Some of it is not Facebook. Some of it is just people don't have emotional maturity or intelligence to stop themselves from posting things they just, violently erupt.
Or they have a stroke and they're not functioning on all 4 cylinders.
I wouldn't know about that. Anyway, so they're trying to make an appearance that they're trying to be more open about what's happening on their network. So I thought, so I just saw it, the whole ad was just like, you're not fooling anybody, Facebook. Geez. So this ad shows how much Facebook's begun to recognize it simply doesn't have issues that pop up here and there. It has a real image problem, and I'm thinking this is damage control, PR damage control, by running this ad. It says fake news is not your friend, spam is not your friend. And I'm like, yeah, we know. And if you've got a modicum of intelligence, you can just mentally filter this stuff out, and you're like, not looking at that, not looking at that, not looking at that. Oh, hey, so-and-so had a baby. Not looking at that, not looking at that. So that's how I go through a Facebook post feed dump, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think about that?
Well, it is what it is, man.
I don't know if you really were into it because you were in pain at that time when that came on.
So what else you got?
Well, I'm furiously looking at it. I know how much you love big fancy cars driven by rich douches, but
you say that.
Mercedes made this amazing. It said it was a limo, a stretch limo. It literally stretches. It actually, like the front of it goes forward and then the middle of it stretches open. It looks more like a black van, and it's like luxury beyond luxury. It's like there's 4 big bucket seats that face each other, and they recline all the way back and they have the extra footrest, and then they have like these big, almost like starship consoles around it with little hidden drawers and martini glasses and displays, and just ostentatious out the wazoo. I'd go check that out. I think I saw that on social media, but I'm looking at theverge.com. I think it's here too. So that's really interesting. I don't know who that's for. I don't know who would get in it. I don't know how you would rent something like that. You still got nothing over there?
I'm still, nothing.
Your medication's kicked in.
Yeah, I had to say it has. I was hurting a little bit, and so thanks to you making me laugh about the meat that didn't make it into the garbage can.
Why were you laughing? Never mind. Let's not revisit that. You just had to say sausage, didn't you?
I didn't say sausage. I just said meat. Yeah, you went to this.
No, you said... Oh, never mind. Let's not get into that. Hey, do you know that there's some sneakers out there made from recycled chewing gum?
Okay.
So, there's this organization or designer called Explicit Wear. They're into the sustainability thing. They have this company called Gumdrop. They've collaborated with them to design a shoe from recycled chewing gum called, guess what? Gumshoe. The shoe's sole is made of recyclable compounds known as Gumtech, produced by Gumdrop, and compounds that are made up of 20% gum. Gum is made from a synthetic rubber, and by breaking down these properties, we were able to create a new type of rubber. And this project has got 3.3 million pounds of gum that make it onto the Amsterdam pavements every year, and they just go scrape it up, I guess, and they use 2.2 pounds of gum for every 4 pair of shoes. Recycled gum is scraped from the streets of Amsterdam, and the Gumtech compounds they make them into granules, and they mold them into the shape of a shoe, And it also features a map of the city as the underside. You know how when you leave a pattern on the bottom of your shoe?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a map of the city of Amsterdam.
Okay.
With the lines, So we started looking for a way to make people aware of the problem. The idea to create a product that people actually want, something made from something no one cares about. They are strong as normal rubber and even smell like gum, but no stickiness. The project's the first pair of sneakers made from gum apart from the sole. The rest of the shoe is made from leather. They're looking at potentially allowing customers to recycle and replace the sole when they need to for a fee, so you could keep the body of the shoe if it's fine and just take out the part you wear out, the gum part, so that it makes it more sustainable. And then, of course, people are always going to chew gum and throw it on the sidewalk, and it's like they have an endless supply of their own product for free, right? Mm-hmm. So the shoes are available in, of course, bubblegum pink, black, or red, and they'll be available June for 190 euros, or that's about $232 our money. I thought that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. I mean, just interesting ways to help out and recycle. I was actually listening to Coast to Coast the other night. Linda was talking to a gentleman about this big old plastic patch that's out in the ocean, the Pacific Ocean. It's like kind of between Hawaii and the United States mainland. And how they're taking all this plastic and trying to clean out the ocean and then bring it in and recycle the plastic. I'm all for that. I mean, that's brilliant. That's kudos to that person. To help out the environment. So, good for them. So I'm all for recycling, especially when I can. I definitely I do it.
That's good for you.
Mm-hmm. Good for you.
Good for you. I mean, we're so old. Jeez. Digging up an old meme. You know what?
What?
Amazon will now deliver packages to the trunk of your car. I'm waiting for the day when Amazon will deliver a package while you're sitting on your own toilet and just bring it right to you.
Well, I had read somewhere that they were talking about making deliveries to your car.
This is what I just said.
But I guess maybe I was assuming that you were in transit and they would do...
Now deliver packages trunk of your car. New service in collaboration with GM and Volvo will launch in 37 cities in the U.S. Now, last year they said, hey, can we unlock your front door so we can leave the package inside your home?
Nope.
You're like, sure, Amazon, come on in. So this new service lets the couriers access to a person's vehicle for the purpose of leaving package deliveries inside your car. Rather than use smart locks, a cloud-connected camera to gain entry, Amazon wants to use the connected technologies already embedded in our modern vehicles. So they're launching it in partnership with GM and Volvo. Want to do this as a part of a plan all along. They've been beta testing it in California and Washington State for the past 6 months. They got a video of a person getting, like, opening her trunk. It's like, oh, boom, you've got a delivery. It's only going to be available to Prime subscribers. That's like you and me. Limited to owners of GM and Volvo vehicles only. Well, duh. With active OnStar accounts. They'll add the other mobile automobile brands over time. Now, packages weigh over 50 pounds or larger than a certain size will still require a signature, or if they're valued over $1,300 or they come from a third-party seller, they're not eligible for in-car delivery. So it's like they're trying, like, okay, can we get it to you with a drone? Can we get it to you in 2 hours? Can we get it to you inside your house? Can we put it in your car?
What they're trying to do is make sure you get your package and somebody doesn't come and steal it. We've seen videos where people have tried to steal packages off the front door of somebody, and I think I saw one recently where a man came out with a shotgun and the lady pissed her pants because she had nowhere to run, and he gave her an airful, and I guess he ultimately let her go. But
I guess he came out and said, drop it, but
and she did.
Yeah. So if you've got a GM or Volvo with OnStore, you've got to also have this special key, Amazon Key app, include in a description of your vehicle so they can locate it. And it has to be parked within a certain radius of an address used for Amazon deliveries at your home or work. Driveways, parking garages, parking lots, street parking are all eligible as long as it's not at some random address across town. So, they've got some criteria. It just, I don't know what to think about that, you know? Is that going too far? It's like, why don't you just like I said, why don't you just bring it to me? I'm sitting on the toilet. Jeez, you know, why not? You know, it's like they're trying to do anything they can get. It's like, buy our stuff. We'll get it to you any way we possibly can. You know, we'll bring in a drone. We'll airlift it. Well, you know, we'll send a car of clowns to get it to you. You know, just doesn't smack of desperation or anything.
Well, Surlana, we've reached the time when we talk about what's on tap for next week.
Yes. Which
leads us into, man, you didn't waste no time, didn't you?
I didn't touch it. Well, we're going into crunch time now with Comic Palooza. We've got to get Spaceboy healed up and well because there's a lot of terrible physical demanding things we've got to do to prep. We're going to be there. We're going to be exhibiting. We're also going to be part of the official Comic Palooza podcast, which is why we're doing such heavy marketing for Comic Palooza at the beginning of the shows because it's part of our agreement.
It's our duty.
Yeah, it's part of our agreement to do the podcasting thing. So I can't tell you what's going to be on the show next week. As long as everything is normal, I have some ideas of topics I would like to cover, but it's just a matter of can we stay healthy?
But as we approach Comic Palooza, there will be some Comic Palooza related news that we'll be talking about. And when I say news, it'll be Marvel, like we talked about tonight with the Avengers and things like that you're going to find at the convention. And so we're going to be heavily promoting that as we lead up to Comic Palooza at the end of the month of May, which is, like I said, right around the corner. And, we'll be promoting the gaming aspect, the pop culture of it, the technology, of course. You know, it's going to be really great. And as a listener of Space Cadet, you're going to get a lot of this cool stuff and information that you probably won't get anywhere else other than at the Universe, here at Spaceboy Universe. So you just look for more of that stuff coming down the pipe as we go through the next several weeks, and just keep looking for. It's
supposed to be a pop culture topic.
Yeah.
Next week.
Okay, but I guess just keep an eye on our Twitterverse, our Facebook postings, and all that, and Surlana will get that information out, and you'll be able to know what's on tap. Anything else, Surlana?
We're on board for Comic Palooza, and of course Maker Faire, which is in October. We'll be part of that as well. We'll be in the Maker Faire section at Comic Palooza. That's where you'll find us. If you can get to Houston, that's where we're going to be. So, yes, the Pop-Tart conspiracy. Let us never forget the great Pop-Tart conspiracy of 2018.
Yes, the Pop-Tart experience of 2018. But on that magical note, the music's playing. I know you don't want to say goodbye, so I'll say goodbye for both of us. Good night. We love you. Check you next week. Bye-bye.
Spaceboy Universe is hosted by Spaceboy and Surlana. Executive producer is Surlana. Social media producer is Dennis Koch. Associate producer is Lee Ann Cordes. Music production is Spaceboy of SpaceboyMusic.com. Special thanks goes out to Lee Ann K28, Solars Blue Raven, Patrick Sporer, Dino, Bob and Beverly M. This has been a Spaceboy Universe production. Support the universe by exploring Spaceboy Universe with Spaceboy and Surlana. Sweet dreams, Space Cadets.